it on my channel right now. I'm just going to take a quick second here and see if Mr. Johnny Big Time or someone else can say it's all working. All right, I'm just sending that off there. So, hey, Ascanius, how you doing? Ascanius, if I can get... Oh, it's all working? Fantastic. All right, so what's going on here? First of all, let's press A and hopefully we can get some audio. Hey, that sounds nice, although it's a little loud for me, so I wonder... I'm going to sound like a complete old person. um, I I don't play console games. Um, and let me tell you a little bit about how how did we get to this place? um, why am I doing this for you? Hopefully the audio isn't too bad. So um, it wasn't. It was someone who I've talked to about Paradox stuff in the past. I believe they were the person to give me the key for Age of Wonders Planetfall, and it was not too shortly after I had sort of set up the Xbox and been playing around with it a little bit that they said it's like, hey, the new campus DLC for City Skylines is out. It's a key for the Xbox. Would you be interested in it? And I really havered on it because, as you guys know, I've been just drowning in terms of like commitments for coverage, but I love Paradox stuff, and particularly I really enjoyed Surviving Mars. I think that's been a wonderful game to play on the stream, and the fact that I now have an Xbox and I get to try some console stuff made it really attractive. So I ultimately said is like, okay, I am really busy right now. I'm probably not going to be able to cover it, but please do keep me in mind in the future. And they got back to me and said, well, when are you going to be able to cover it? And I said, last week of October at the earliest. Well, it's obviously not the last week of October. I'm a little bit earlier. But there's a few reasons specifically why I want to do City Skylines, why I want to do it. It's not just that, obviously, Paradox has been very good to me, and Triple Point, the agency that gets in touch, always been very they've always been very sort of forthright. They've always been very good at getting me, getting me stuff that seems to work quite well on the channel and that everybody seems to enjoy. But the thing is that my experience of gaming is very different from what everybody's is. I'm primarily a PC gamer, and console is only becoming more and more important. And I think one of the things that's so interesting about Paradox is that they make games that I really like, and they are clearly a style of game that appeals very well to to a PC audience. One would not normally associate something like Europa Universalis 4 with console, and yet Paradox is clearly positioning itself for a world in which consoles play a bigger role than PCs. We've seen Stellaris on consoles as well as City Skylines. Of course, City Skylines is published by Paradox. It is developed by Colossal Order. And of course, now we see Stellaris on mobile. Why do I think console is becoming more important when Xbox is putting all their games on PC and the PS now lets you stream Sony games? Yeah, it's just the simple fact that where people are spending their money. And I think with a product like Stadia, I'm maybe less convinced about Stadia. But whether it's console in the form of Xbox, I think the idea of like owning a computer and playing games on it, one, I think the majority of people play it on something other than a PC. I'm not 100% sure on the numbers on that. But more importantly, too, I think the idea of like owning a computer and playing games on it is probably less likely to be the future than it is to be more dominant in the future. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that a console is necessarily going to replace it, but I think the idea of spending a lot of money on hardware to play games um, is going to be a thing of the past. But one way or the other, it's definitely the way that Paradox has been going, from essentially what seems like zero console titles to putting things that you normally would not associate with console on a console. So in addition to the fact that this is going to be me appreciating a style of this is going to be, me appreciating a style of gaming that I don't really get to play that often. And I'll admit, like, I'm totally going to be playing NHL on this thing a lot. I'm really looking forward to playing City Skylines, which is a really relaxing. I've never quite been able to do well on city builders that aren't surviving Mars, so I'm really looking forward to something like this. And then on top of that, I'm really interested in seeing what it's like to stream on a console. So, campus areas. Create your own campus area with any shape or size with the campus area tool. Administration building, which sets the type, allows gaining reputation, and works as a headquarters for the campus area buildings. It also enables the creation of academic works and eventually building a museum where you can showcase created academic work. Incidentally, I don't have campus on PC, so... New campus buildings divided by campus area types. The selection of each new building has a specific function in the game. While some increase the student capacity or increase the campus attractiveness, or even have citywide effects, the campus buildings ranging from dormitories, fountains, and clubhouses to unique faculties are sure to have a positive impact on your campus area's reputation. So I'm just going to take a second here to put my transcodes down so I'm not putting too much of a demand on it. Unique faculties. Representing the various academic majors, the citizens can choose to go to the unique faculties such as Police Academy and School of Education, are impressive new impressive buildings that are sure to attract a lot of students. Besides just increasing student capacity, the faculties provide citywide bonuses by boosting certain aspects such as services and zones. School events, toga parties, and graduation ceremonies are an integral part of student life experience. Toga parties can occur randomly when the campus area is operational, and at the end of every academic year, your campus will host graduation ceremonies for all who have managed to graduate. How you doing, Sungif? Varsity sports is an integral part of the college and university experience, and with campus area, it is now possible to make and customize your own varsity sports team. Varsity sports features include 5 different types of sports and arenas to go with them, and all new varsity sports policies to help your team's chances of winning. New city policies, campus area policies, and varsity sports policies allow you to make your city even more thriving and educated than before. Man, I don't know if we're going to get to the campus content. So this, I'm only committing myself to learning City Skylines tonight. If we can get to the campus stuff, that will be great. But I 100% intend to cover the campus DLC, because that's obviously what I was given the key for. But obviously, I don't want to be, clowning around on the new stuff, failing to show it off. But man, I still kind of pine for my time, especially because work hasn't been quite what I was hoping. I'm really pining back for the time that I was spending in grad school now. I mean, I probably wouldn't want to recreate if I was actually back in grad school. But the idea of building a campus, I like where they seem to be going with this campus thing. Anyways. Allow you to make your city even more thriving and educated than ever before. 5 new maps designed to provide a diverse set of starting points for cities, ranging from riversides and shorelines to cities nested in the mountains. Included with natural resources and memorable terrain formations, the new maps provide interesting locations for campus areas. Industry 4.0 city policy. When the majority of citizens are well educated or higher, it can be difficult for the regular industry to find capable workers. With Industry 4.0 city policy, all of the workplaces from zone to industry are converted to highly educated specialists while simultaneously reducing the available workplaces. Bus line customization. It's time to stop when the red lights flash because the yellow school bus model is here. You can now choose which kind of bus operates on your bus lines, standard or yellow one. And new city service and unique building. The public library is an education building that provides a small chance for citizens to gain an education whenever they visit it. For those who take an advantage of the public library city service, there is also a new unique building called an academic library to unlock. Cool, got it. I won't go through all of the patches, obviously. One quick comment I'll have for streaming on the Xbox, and I don't know if any of you guys can say what's different, But I'm noticing that chat doesn't actually pop up for me while I'm. Oh no! Don't go to Spanish, please. I do not know Spanish. Okay, good. Oh god, I'm gonna need to learn this. Presumably the tutorial will take me through. Will take me through all of this. I'll put this on credits while I'm talking about. But yeah, it doesn't seem like Twitch will actually have a chat that pops up for me. So instead, I'm gonna just rely on having my monitor. So my nice new monitor is like one of the first things I've had HDMI for. So I'm using that to connect into the Xbox and whatnot. So I'm able to read your chat, but if anybody happens to know a way of enabling chat on the Xbox, that will make my life a little bit easier. Is there anything to talk about before I go into the game? Obviously, this is a press key that I was given, so I'm very intrigued to try this on a console. I'm also just generally interested in seeing what it's like to play games on a console. You're so impressed. Half a year ago, you randomly had a post-show beer with a physical therapist turned folk musician, and you've stayed in touch online. Oh, that's really cool. I think what I'm probably going to do is to try and get through the tutorial and like not make the city terrible. And I think if I can make it to the campus stuff in this stream, I will tell some university stories. But failing that, let's at least try to learn how a PC game works on a console. He had a couple of mates who you got to know well and decided to work out a training program for you. That's wonderful to hear, Sungif. Oh, I feel a little bad. Okay, we'll let the credits run by. So, Paradox City Skylines Xbox One Edition team. Let's see if there's any names that are familiar. Although I don't know how long the credits are, so I might have to pull it back. For those of you who don't know, by the way, Paradox is PDXCon is starting tomorrow. I don't have any inside information, but my guess is... by the way, if you guys are wondering who's responsible for the console stuff, I think it's Shams Georgiani, because he's business development and just does that kind of stuff. They're a very good podcast, by the way, with Shams and Daniel Goldberg explaining some of their business decisions. And what was I going to say? So my prediction for PDXCon is Crusader Kings 3. There will probably be other stuff. I expect there will be a new Stellaris DLC that's announced, but it's not surprising to say new DLC announced at PDXCon. That's kind of a given. But we'll see how it goes. Oh, I really don't want to let QA get the short end of the stick, but we do also need to start the game because I figure everybody's had a chance to get in. Hey, there's Daniel Goldberg. I didn't realize he was VP Marketing. It's very senior people who are doing that podcast. Alright, we'll go through marketing. If there's anything else, I apologize, but we're gonna leave it. Unless, of course, marketing just winds up being like 600, 600 entries either. Alright, sorry Player Services and CRM, it's nothing personal. But, new game. Okay, I could just go straight for the default map. Blackwoods, Cliffside Bay, Diamond Coast. Yeah, there's so many different... I mean, this seems nice and balanced in terms of natural resources and water and whatnot. Base theme Boreal, suitable area for building 69%. We'll go with the default name of Springwood, and away we go. Dynamic weather day-night cycle, no cheats, and... Oh, man! This is another thing, too. If you notice a lot of this Paradox games, they've all got... So I don't know whether or not the Paradox launcher is still going to be developed. I think it's still in beta. But you will notice that starting Paradox games, there's been sort of this new launch pad, and I think it's one of the ways that they're trying to decouple themselves from Steam for modding. I think it's a really smart choice because, again, a game like City Skylines, modding is a really big deal. And so if you're relying on one storefront or relying on PC to provide kind of that core experience, then presumably the console transition isn't going to be very good. So I'm definitely going to have to check this out at some point, but we'll go for the vanilla experience right now. Pollution moves downstream. Always place your drain pipes downstream for water pumping stations. Good to know. Hopefully this isn't too dull for most of you, but I'm really excited for this. Like, I really want to see how they turn this game into a console title. And of course, I want to. So I've been watching The Wire recently, and I'm going to consider this a success if I don't produce Baltimore as depicted in The Wire. Hello! Let's start by building some roads and zoning the areas next to them. Buildings will spawn on the zoned areas, and you will unlock new city services and buildings as your city grows. For help, press the right, whatever that is. It will provide you with information regarding the menu or view you have to open or the item that you have selected. You can view detailed information about your city at any time by holding Y to open the radial info menu and selecting an info menu with L. Okay, this is probably... Okay, so... First question, how do I pause? Okay. Mission 1, we've successfully paused. Inspector. The inspector allows you to view information about the things in your city. Move the inspector reticule over a building, person, or vehicle and press A to bring up its info window. In the info window, you can perform certain actions, such as changing a name, turning a building on or off, depending on the type of object selected. Press B to close the info window again. Whilst in the inspector, press Y to toggle district mode. Use the inspector reticule to highlight a district and press A to bring up its info window. That's all very interesting. I think I've maybe missed the point in terms of how I get into the inspector, though. Move the inspector reticule. Oh, I just push A. Ah! Alright, I got it. Build roads to expand your city. Select a road type. Draw a road by selecting a start and end point for the road, and with A. Stop drawing the road by pressing B. Okay. Again, I'm sorry. This is going to make me seem very stupid, but again, it's really important to remember here, the only console I have ever played is like... Oh god, what is it? Like... Well, I guess I played a PlayStation once upon a time. I don't know, like, it's been a really long time since I've done a console, so... you're gonna have to bear with me a little bit for this. Okay. So... I'm trying to think about, or try to figure out, how I... Okay. I'm just trying to figure out how I get to the next, that's not going to help me. How I get to the next, arrow buttons. Roads provide zones for buildings and city services. Larger roads allow faster travel and more traffic. This helps service vehicles reach citizens more effectively. Roads with decoration produce less noise pollution. Use the up or down button to build elevated roads or tunnels. Draw a road over water to build a bridge. To change or upgrade a road type, select the new road type you want and press A. Then hold Y to access the road radials menu and select the upgrade road tool with L. Select an existing road to upgrade it. To change the direction of a one-way road, select the change direction tool in the road's radial menu and press A on the road that you want to change. You can demolish pieces of highway as long as roads from your city connect to the remaining parts. Alright. Alright, I'm starting to get this here. I'm going to start with straight roads. Now, what I would be slightly more interested in is, at some point we're going to need to figure out what we're doing. What in the world's going on with, I kind of want to figure out where is going to be a good spot for me to dump my sewage. And I believe there should be a way for me to identify Um, maybe info views? And there we go. Yeah, so the water's flowing downstream, kind of to the left. So there's two things that I'm going to start thinking. So one idea that I have here is like, okay, well, I can draw a road. Do I want to draw a road forward like this? Do I want to move it down? Do I want to move it to the left? And it would seem to me that building in this direction will make it a little bit, it'll make it a little bit less. By the way, it's really hard for me to, on console to point out like where I'm thinking about. It's kind of neat to see how much I take for granted in terms of streaming on a PC. But yeah, I'm thinking building towards this so that I can dump my sewage kind of downstream, and it seems like the current's fairly strong. So, all right. So back to roads. Let's zoom in. And oh, this is tricky because this looks like it's heading on its way. So it looks like it's actually making me go. It looks like it's. If I actually want intake, I'm going to have to take it out of this road here. So apparently that plan may not work. When a road building tool is selected, the small circle shows you the width of the road that you are placing, and if the road type creates zoning grids, the large circle around the small circle shows the width of the grid the road will create. When connecting to an existing road, you can see the angle at which the road connects to the existing road. All right, well, let's. I'll take the guide. Guide is given here. Oop. I think I'm going to live with that for now. I suppose if I'm going to wind up building residential areas, I may want to sort of shoot it off the side. But then that does raise the question in terms of where I'm dumping the sewage and whatnot. All right, let's not think too much about it. Let's start. Zones determine what kind of buildings will spawn in the areas next to the roads. Areas indicated by a gray grid next to the roads can be zoned. There are 3 different tools for zoning: fill, marquee, and brush. Zone an area by pressing A. Residential zones provide housing for citizens. Commercial zones offer shopping and leisure for citizens and tourists. Industry and office zones provide jobs for the citizens and produce goods for commercial zones to sell. Districts allow you to assign specialized industrial and commercial zones. To create a district, select the district painting tool and paint the part of the city that you want to become a district by holding down A. You can also hold down X to remove area from your district. The district's info window can be accessed using direct mode in the inspector. Apply specialization by selecting the specialization tool that you want and selecting the district. Okay. I don't feel a need to assign districts yet. Obviously, I do want to start putting down residential areas, but maybe let's not put them down the main roadway. Let's actually start by, I want to zone out some areas for them. So let's say... Nice, it shows the right directions. And obviously we will properly connect them. There we go. Alright, so I think that gives me a little bit more of a fighting chance in terms of controlling the noise. I suppose there are going to be some unlucky people right along the border unless I can find a slightly more granular way of zoning. Oh yes, if I select... Yeah, let's do the select option for now. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to build in for a buffer. I will consider putting some other residential areas around the edge here, but for now I'm gonna live with that. And if you can just give me a quick second here, this is gonna seem a little absurd, but But the... Okay, hopefully we are back. It was covering up the demands for the city, and it turns out that there were a couple of other commands that I was missing out on. Okay, so presumably we're going to need some power at some point. So utilities, power plants produce electricity for all your modern city's needs. Electricity will move from building to building over short distances, but to transfer electricity over greater distance, you will need to build power lines. When placing power lines, you can see the reach of electricity around the buildings as a light blue area. Connect these areas with power lines to move electricity between them. Power plants produce ground and/or noise pollution. When placing a power plant, the circular area around it tells you how far the pollution spreads. There's more. Water and sewage. Connect your water pumps and drains with water pipes. Draw the water pipes under your city to provide buildings with water and a sewage system. Note that the water pumps and drains need electricity to work. Water tanks store excess water and supply the city automatically when demand exceeds production. Make sure your water pumps are located a safe distance away from any drain pipes to prevent people from using contaminated water. During the winter, heating is required. Upgraded water pipes carry heat to buildings. Waste management. To manage waste and garbage, build a landfill site or an incineration plant. Waste management produces pollution, so facilities should be placed far away from residential areas. Garbage that piles up in residential areas also causes ground pollution over time, so make sure that you have enough garbage facilities. Landfill sites and incineration plants send out garbage trucks to pick up trash. Make sure that they can get around the city easily. Good connections with large roads help garbage trucks get around the city fast. When placing a building, observe the roads to see how large of an area it will serve efficiently. Yeah, I'm gonna need to figure out... I'm kind of trying to divide the city into two parts, but I sort of need to figure out the placement of industry and whatnot. The game is currently paused. You can toggle pause by pressing left. No, I'm totally fine with the game staying paused. I need to learn. Alright. Let's start with... So my electricity options, I can build wind. I can build a coal power plant. So obviously there's a trade-off in terms of pollution and energy. I don't know, does it say how much... Okay, 50 pollution, 50 noise pollution, puts out 40 megawatts. And a wind turbine, more noise pollution, 0 to 8 megawatts. And it costs 6,000. So what are we looking at? 19 for 50, I think it was? Let's just go by the upkeep cost. So 560 a week to get 40. 80 a week to get maximum of 8. Not entirely sure one really dominates the other. I do know what I'm going to be doing, not where you want it. If you place a building or a road in the wrong spot, you can bulldoze it. If you bulldoze recently placed items, you get most of your money back. You can also move service buildings. Just click on them and choose relocate in their information window. That's going to be helpful, but I don't want to put it down yet. So rather than build the electricity, I'm going to go with the thing that I know that I want to do, and that is where I want to put my sewage. So put that as far as we can to the edge. And I suppose I also need to pump water, so we'll... It's a little far away for both of them, but... And I suppose I'll start by building a water tower right away. I'd love it if it'd be a nice big straight... Oh, you know what? I probably can make it a nice straight line. Give me that 180, please. Oh, no, not enough. Alright, well... That's what I get for not being more precise. Alright. So we're good there. I am going to need to figure out where I'm getting my power. To unlock more services for your citizens, grow the population to reach new milestones. Explore the milestone menu to see what will unlock and when. I'm good for now. Let's take a minute here and see. All right, so apparently this is the best place for wind. That's not terrible, except that I'm kind of already committed to having... Oh, you know what? I'm not actually locked into that residential area yet, but it looks like... Oh, man. Should have thought a little more carefully about my placement for everything, because it turns out there's a couple of really good wind spots here and here, and I'm going to be putting wires all over the place. Alright, well, you know what? It's nice ocean property, but for now, let's get our... Keep in mind that wind turbines' power output depends on the wind velocity. You can see strong winds as dark blue areas on the map, an estimated power output next to the wind turbine when placing it. So yeah, this will all give me 8. I suppose the good news is that I don't know if there's a way to rotate It's taking a minute. Oh yeah, nope, there's a way I can rotate them. It just doesn't mean anything for the wind turbines, I'm assuming. Now I guess the question is, how much power do I need? So let's take a quick second here and see... water pumping... It's 240 kilowatts. Alright, so I mean, with a sufficiently small city like this, presumably we don't need that much in terms of power. There is, of course, the question in terms of how I'm going to get the wires lined up. Let's do... The economy panel lets you handle taxes and see how much you make and spend. Continue growing your city to unlock more options to fine-tune the economy. Here's what we're going to do. This may not be the most efficient... Okay, actually, one thing I need to do is hook up my sewage. Build that there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try running this... Alright, this is not a specifically terrible idea. I just don't think it actually reaches the residential areas that I want it to. But I may be able to change that. So I think, yeah, I've got a problem with those roads. Okay, we'll work with this. And what I will do, I'm just going to adjust my zoning a little bit so that I can get some residential zoning. I bet this will work a lot better if I zoom in. I'm going to hope that this is close enough for... Oh, I didn't realize it was 4. Can I unzone this? I can. Haha, the day is mine. All right. We will see how that works. Okay, last thing I want to do before starting the city, like 15 minutes after the stream started. Last thing for me to do is take a look at that economy panel that they were talking about. So let's see what's going on here. I've got low density residential. Okay, budget. I can probably cut on electricity and water at the moment. Again, we're small, so in this case here, I don't want these things running at full capacity until I actually need them. And I think for now, we will just call it. So, okay, this I'm sure is going to wind up crashing into a complete disaster. Oh, actually, there is one last thing I should do. I should probably give people a way to go out, although I suppose that kind of guarantees me a bit of a tax base. Let's not do it that way. I seem to remember hearing somewhere if you have lots of intersections, that causes a lot of problems. That's life. So yeah, I'm basically going, one of the things that I'm trying to do right now is just do specifically what the game is telling me. So right now it says, only demand for residential areas. I've got some basic amenities along the lines of things like sewage and power and whatnot. And I'm assuming I'm probably going to have some power problems, getting my initial residences set up. But we'll worry about that when the game tells me that. I think at this point we are finally ready to make the magic happen. Right, freshwater will be finally running into the city. Welcome modern commodities. Hashtag freshwater, hashtag Mayor Rocks. Local power plant is online. Maybe I'll get my TV working again. Hashtag reality shows 24/7. Hooray for the mayor! More green energy for the city. Achievement unlock green energy. Produce all electricity without using raw materials. Don't get too excited about it. Alright, looks like we're getting some development here. Let's see whether or not they actually get power, though. I'm also slightly curious about how the... Alright, that's an interesting... It's interesting for the... Surely there is a way that I can adjust the speed. Oh, neat. Okay, you get kind of a cinematic mode. I'm just a little curious if... It seems like there's more than just... Given the fact that there's the 3 little arrows, it makes me feel like there's more than just paused and like playing like this, but I don't seem to know how to adjust the speed. I can take a look at that a little bit later, but for now I just want to see how this thing is building. And I know we had a few more people at the start than now, so I know this is probably a really slow start for people who are looking for City Skylines, but apologies if watching me stumble over an Xbox translation is not your idea of a good time. I will try and do better. But so far, it looks like 1, the housing demand is being satisfied, and 2, nobody's asking about power. This is making me reasonably happy. They don't really have anything else. Not a grocery store to be seen. But they are not lacking power. Oh, okay. Now everybody's complaining. So, I suppose the best way to do this is just to directly throw some more power lines closer to them. Yeah, that was my blunder. So ideally I'm going to do this in a way that doesn't result in... What I'd kind of like to try and do is see if I can get another set of residential buildings. So like something a little like this. I suppose, yeah. And then something a little like that. I mean, again, it does say that there's something of a demand for residential. I'll leave that be for now. All right, let's hope I didn't just snarl up my traffic doing that, but presumably the power problems are going to go away soon. I hope they are. So consumption 0, but production 0. So it's definitely not a It's not a supply problem. Okay, yeah, it's just a timing problem. Apparently there are 43 unhappy people in the city now. Alright, let's see what's going on here. So, how is the building doing? The info window shows you what is going on with the selected building. You can see information about the residents or workers in the building. Find out what your building requires to level up by reading the tip below the green house icon. If there's a problem affecting the building, it is shown on the colored bar close to the name. Alright, so it looks like people are generally happy. And looks like we're getting a little light demand for commercial and industry. So I think one of the ways that I'm going to handle the demand for commercial is commercial will become the buffer to the highway. And then I figure I can put the industrial area sort of on the other side. So let's say... You know what, we'll do the same road plan that we have elsewhere, so... Oops. Sorry, still getting used to the controls. Now I'm interested as to whether or not... Alright, so it looks like if I try to do something like this... Oh no! That's probably a bad idea, though. It's probably better to have some separation of church and state on that. Oh, you know what? I made it 2 links last time, so... I'm worried I'm spending a little too much money on, like, on roads and whatnot. But, let's try something like... Well, this doesn't make any sense. Okay. I believe I can flip the designation around. It's using the Y key. Right. I don't want to upgrade it. I want to... Huh, okay. So it looks like I can individually section these off. Now this is way too much for all industry right now. What I am going to do is zone close to the power lines. Nope, looks like we are short on water. So let's go to our info panel. Oop. Industrial zones provide jobs for the citizens and produce goods for local businesses. Industry uses a lot of water and produces ground pollution to its surroundings. Be sure to place the industrial zones at a safe distance from any residential areas. Also, I don't believe it's a capacity well, it's not a supply problem. I just believe I didn't put the right infrastructure down. Yep. And I'm going to need to deal with that in the industrial area as well. So we'll have a little redundancy in terms of our pipe coverage, but let's see where this goes. Alright. Again, I'm sure people will be mad at not having Teflon-coated underwear sell like hotcakes. Straps required to keep said underwear in place. Non-stick pants. So we are short on money. it does look like I'm going to need to supply more residential almost immediately. So I'm going to try something a little different here. I'm actually going to try and let this thing run while I get some more building in. Yeah, we're full up on residential, so I question the decision to keep going out further like this, but I'm going to try building to the left for now. I would at some point like another, I would at some point like kind of like another road that that goes in. Oh, what? Yeah, I wasn't thinking when I set that up. That's more like it. Okay. Oh, and we've got power problems, so that might be a capacity thing. Oop. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause because I'm bad at managing. All right, so let's see what we've got. Ah, why? What are we looking at as far as energy? So it is because we're not producing enough. Well, I suppose that means that I actually need to start paying for power. So budget, let's move that up to 75%, and as a precaution, water seems to be very expensive. I'll take it to 70 for now. Actually, I guess my info panel will tell me what our consumption is. We are well ahead of the game, so I'm actually I'm gonna spend less on the... One last thing I want to take a look at is energy. So we're at 2. So currently consumption production 2 megawatts. Our maximum capacity is 8. So we've got like room for 4, kind of 4 times what we've got already. So I'm okay with that. Let's change the view to straight. Okay, there we go. And before I put down the residential areas, let's just, yeah, I gotta take care of my pipes. I'm a little sorry to be so fidgety in terms of the console controls. I suppose this is why I'll like never play first-person shooters on console. But until then, I don't know, I'll live with what I've got here. I'm a little curious as to whether or not we're actually at capacity for our industrial utilization, so I'm going to leave that be for now. Hopefully our power comes back online. Oh, this is fun. I kind of like seeing the city come to life. Okay, we've got more than enough commercial, it looks like. The residential's kind of taken care of itself. I think we can justify some more industry, though, so let's take that. And at some point, I'm going to have to consider what my next expansion's going to be. Oops. It's beautiful. Out of curiosity, does anybody here play City Skylines? I did a little bit of it on on PC. Thing is, I really don't have a mind for these kinds of games normally. Surviving Mars is really the exception, because I think Surviving Mars doesn't give you the level of freedom that this one does, and I tend to be a little paralyzed by, oh hey, we had a surplus. Make building historical. You can now make any zoned building historical to preserve its visual appearance by ticking the checkbox in the building's info panel. The historical building continues to function normally. Check it out. Alright, well, I don't exactly want to make something... Oh, hey! Congratulations! We are now a little hamlet. Our goal was to reach a population of 320. New features, so taxes, loans, garbage, healthcare, and education. New buildings, landfill site, medical clinic, elementary school. Apparently another medical clinic and another elementary school? I guess it's two different styles. Okay. Next up is a worthy village. We can unlock new areas. We get districts policy, second loan, district specialization, service policy. So yeah, the tutorial's kind of built in the way that you play. All right. We're feeling good. What's going on with unique buildings and monuments, though? Is it just that there aren't any? That doesn't seem to make any sense. Well, it doesn't want to show me anything else, so let's... It looks like we're going to have some demand for No, we still have space for residential, as well as industrial, for that matter. So let's think a little bit about where our medical and our... So we want medical, waste, and... Sorry, medical, waste management, and education. So first of all, let's see if there's any kind of detriments. So to keep your citizens healthy, make sure that they have enough healthcare facilities and that the buildings have good road connections. Things such as pollution, crime, and contaminated water reduce the health of your citizens. Ambulances travel out to pick up sick people, but patients can also arrive using their own cars. Helicopters can reach destinations without road access and are not affected by traffic jams. Your citizens age and eventually will perish of old age, no matter how good their health is. The living citizens wish to respect their loved ones by having a cemetery in the city to bury them in. Cemeteries and crematoriums take care of the deceased by sending out hearses to pick up the deceased. When placing a building, observe the roads to see how large of an area it will serve efficiently. Education. Children need elementary schools. Teenagers attend high school, and young adults can get educated at a university if there is one available. Education is complete when citizens end their age phase while enlisted in a school, so educating your population takes some time. A working school system produces educated adults who can fill high-level jobs in industries and offices, thus raising the city's technology level. When placing a building, observe the roads to see how large of an area it will serve efficiently. Public libraries provide entertainment and a small chance for all citizens to become more educated. The chance to become more educated decreases with each education level. I don't think that's how libraries work, by the way. I think you tend to get more educated the more you read going to library. Like, I appreciate libraries better now with an education than I did without an education. Although I suppose, you know, yeah, you can't have that turn into some little flywheel. But anyways, so let's see what we're looking at here. Medical clinic. So no noise pollution. Medical clinic is a small healthcare facility. Each patient takes up one bed for some time, so make sure that there are enough healthcare facilities in the city to handle all patients. Sufficient healthcare will keep your citizens healthy. Alright, so we can currently hospitalize a third of our population. Now, this is a bit of a dilemma for me, because I think this is a nice central location for it. I think before I do anything, I want to get a quick view. I believe there's a menu for kind of transport routes. Nope. I could have sworn I saw... Yeah, traffic. Looks like there's a little bit of a snarl up in this area, which I want to take care of. I think that'll probably come as I expand it out to the right like this, so maybe I won't worry so much about that. As far as the residential areas are concerned, they are generally okay, although it does seem... So one problem as far as the healthcare is concerned, obviously you have to move, like, the worst place to get sick, or no, it's actually not that bad. So if the hospital has to go, they kind of go out and around like this. Yeah, I'm actually okay with this now that I think about it. So let's put that where. All right, that was a good location. And then education, I think I'm going to try and put this a little more in the... Alright, so let's just see. Elementary schools educate children. Placing one makes the neighborhood more attractive to families with children. Education is a requirement for buildings to level up. So clearly there is no benefit to me... So like, if I put it here, this is like the height of stupidity. Interestingly enough, doesn't count as servicing any of these other buildings here, so... I mean, I guess I can put it right beside the medical center if it comes right down to it. Does it make sense for me to do that? Yeah, I suppose it does. I might have wanted to move it a little bit... a little bit more to the center here, because like if the entire left-hand side of the city becomes residential, that'd probably be a better place for it. All right, now budget time, because I suspect we're not big enough to justify. Oops! Don't do that. Schools, universities, campus areas with a high budget can teach more students. At this point, higher healthcare budget allows facilities to have more ambulances and hearses. I'm putting all of this down to a low budget. And this is just to try and... what I want to try and... so the idea here is that I'm building this infrastructure. I don't want it running at full capacity because I don't have the population for it. And the idea here is, rather than sort of... This is partly just giving me a little bit of... In addition to saving money, this is partly about giving me a little bit of a buffer to stop me from making too many mistakes. So essentially what happens now... Let's go to the info view. So if I take a look at electricity, right now we're consuming 5. We're apparently actually producing 8, which surprises me a little bit because we're underfunding the... we're underfunding the power company right now. And of course, the better thing for me, if I get really desperate, is I build another wind turbine. Similarly, if we say, okay, what is our demand right now for... okay, better not look at fire safety. Health. So average health, 53%. Healthcare availability, apparently nothing, but I'm assuming that's because the time hasn't turned over. But anyways, the idea here is that I'm trying to make it so that I can raise the budgets before I need to build more infrastructure. And when I start getting to that 100%, or when I start kind of giving people more money... Hey, Johnny Big Time! No problem. I was just, I was a little concerned that the audio wasn't coming through, so these people need Obamacare. Yeah, actually, this is a good question. Is this a Canadian city or not? Have you ever played City Skylines, by the way, Johnny Big Time? Also, the really cool thing here is because I'm playing on a console, I'm able to... dedicate my full attention to the chat. So we've got Johnny Big Time inside of the chat. He just recently got Surviving Mars through the Epic Store. By the way, there's a really good sale going on for Paradox stuff. I don't want to, seeing as I'm taking a small break anyway, I don't want the fact that I've gotten another affiliate link to spend... I don't want to turn it into an infomercial all the time, but I have learned that if I don't mention them, they don't really get picked up on. So, for those of you who are interested in picking up... basically, for those of you who are interested in picking up Paradox stuff, including City Skylines, you can get the PC versions of this using this affiliate link, and there will be a portion of revenues that go towards me. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what the percentage is. It's a small percentage, though. So if you're interested in picking up City Skylines, it is actually $8.24 in Canadian. on the Humble store right now. I believe there's also a sale going on Steam if you don't want to use my Humble link, and I know the console version has gone on sale. I'm just not 100% sure if it's on sale right now. It may be. I don't check that regularly. Anyways, Johnny got Surviving Mars at an even lower price than it is on sale right here because it was available for free on the Epic Store. But I really like Surviving Mars, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to try City Skylines. The best I can say right now, Johnny Big Time, is that this is City Skylines is Surviving Mars with a heck of a lot more simulation in it, which in one sense makes it very cool, and in the other sense makes it a little tricky for me to get a grip on. Let's try unpausing and see. Mayor supports education. Citizens approve of this. Hashtag no more homeschooling. I'm a little curious here to see... Okay, so we've got health capacity of 100. Oh, I didn't build garbage, though, so let's deal with that quickly. Now, this is going to be a little bit hard because of the way that I've set up my roads. I might actually want to try and build around... Is that Chirper? I think so? I don't actually know the name. I think it might have mentioned it, and I just wasn't paying attention. But before I go any further, so... What happens if I build the dump, like, at the edge of the industrial area here? Actually, apparently, it's not that bad in terms of connecting everything, which I am admittedly a little surprised by. So I could put it here, but I think that would cut off... Oh no, I can still get a road out of there. I don't want to bulldoze my power lines, obviously, but that should still work. I do think, however, I want to try and get a little bit more of a roadway. So, here's what I'm going to do. Just a nice big one-way road. And then what I want to try and do is get another one that kind of goes in the other direction. Well, actually, I know exactly where that road is going to go, right down the middle here. So basically the idea here, this is mostly to try and let my, is mostly just to try and let things like garbage and whatnot kind of move through the area. The only thing I'll do is I'm actually going to change it around a little bit. So let's go... Hello, Mr. Steely Dan. Yes, this is like my first time, this is like... So I did play some, NHL privately, but this is my first stream on an Xbox. I'm actually really impressed. So I'm really not used to playing stuff with controllers. So I have a small difficulty in terms of just managing, like, my movements on this, but I feel like that's more of a me not being familiar with controls like this, rather than a fault of the game. It's actually I am really impressed with how they were able to translate a SimCity-style game. Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to call it that. I'm actually quite impressed at how they were able to get a city builder and turn it into a console game. So, oh, that's great to hear, Steely Dan. I noticed I had a little bit of a drop in terms of viewership, and it's because I was trying to find my feed. I really don't know. I do own City Skylines on PC, but I haven't really put a lot of time into it. So I am really kind of finding my feet on all of this stuff. But it's like, I'm surprised okay, maybe not surprised. Like, obviously this game has a bit of a reputation, but like, I'm delighted by how in-depth the simulation seems to be. Like, talking about life, you know, sort of life cycles for the citizens and whatnot. I think we'll be okay for power, but I want to try and like build the city into that. For now, let's just add some more residential. No, I also want to add roads. The question is, do I want to try and do something about like one-way roads? I've built it this way for now. I'm not sure about... I'm especially worried about how this is going to wind up, but... I'll live with it. You just re-downloaded with all the DLC, haven't touched it since launch, a lot of depth, and it quickly becomes quite the puzzle solver later on when your traffic is clogged and the city is builder. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why... Like, I do not know a lot about city planning. I'm definitely trying to take advantage of sort of like one-way roads and whatnot to try and put as much order in the planning as possible. I have a feeling that I'm gonna wind up with a bunch of people trying to get like shortcuts in like these little areas, and it's gonna be a nightmare. I suppose in the worst case scenario I can just like tear it up and force them to use these long ways around. But we'll see how it goes. I've obviously built up enough... Taking out the trash just became much more convenient than before. Hashtag garbage, hashtag taking out the trash. Also, Johnny Big Time said, you just made that up, so if that's what it's called, you're the best. Actually, so Mr. Steely Dan, you may be able to confirm this for me. What is the name of the tweeting bird? Nope. Something's happening in this... building. Oh, god damn it. Sorry. Twitch yet again is interfering. Just give me a second here, guys. This is the I'm going into my settings, please don't steal my credit card information screen. Alright, not enough workers. Okay, well that's fine. Adding more residential areas will help with that. So let's watch the magic. One thing I love, by the way, is the fact that you can do this. I love the fact that I'm able to sort of show you what the city looks like and that we're going to be able to track the growth. Hey! Aurora Borealis! Aurora Borealis! At this time of year, at this time of day, localized entirely in your kitchen. Yes? Can I see? Yeah, I absolutely love the fact that there's something built into this that just allows me to show you what I've been working on. So... I suppose we get to pick a historical... It did tell me to pick a historical site, so I can work on that at some point. Looks like... Scarlett Campbell, health goes #universal around the world. More healthcare with smaller cost, #universal care. We are running a really big deficit right now, though. So I suppose there's a question, do I want to just try and bring more people... Like, do I think that bringing more people in will... obviously it'll raise my tax base, but I'm still paying a lot for all these services that I'm providing to people. I always kind of feel like raising taxes is what happens when I've run out of, like, zoning. Right now I want people to be filling in the slots that I'm making available to them rather than discouraging people to move in. Let's see if I can find out what's going on with happiness. All right. Sorry, guys. The place I moved the broadcast bar yet again winds up being a place where I can't manage it. So, uh, sorry about that. It's really the only thing. Oh no! See, if I do that, it covers up my. Demand. Alright, this will have to do if Twitch insists on me having one of those bars. Okay. So demand for residential is only growing, so let's give them another slot. The real question here, so I definitely have some pretty brutal expenses, so let's see what's going on with the economy. I can't really afford to... Yeah, I don't think I can really afford to cut back on any of this. Definitely need the power. My largest expense by far is healthcare, but we've already cut that to the bone. I also think not... water's also a pretty hefty expense. I suppose that's just because I've overbuilt, so to a certain extent I think people will... I think we might grow into that. There is kind of an argument for me to start taxing the residential zones a little bit more. Let's go... You know what? I'm going to go pretty aggressive and give 15% residential, and let's just see what happens to demand for that. Oh no, the Tweeterbird's not bugging me. I'm just I'm curious what the name for it is. Let's just take a minute here and see. Bird in. Man, why is every Google search for... So I did a Google search for name for bird in city skylines. The first 5 answers are like, remove that Twitter bird. Get rid of that annoying bird. I just want to know its name. I'm pretty sure its name is Chirper. Yeah, Johnny, its name is Chirper. So apparently you are now the game whisperer. Alright, so I wanted to see what was affecting happiness. That was where I found more problems with the broadcast. So residential happiness is rather low. I'm curious if I can get a little more granular on that here. Probably not. Alright, looks like we've got some power problems. So let's power that out, or let's take that out. Start just by looking at our info panel, and yeah, we're getting close to... So what I am a little curious about here is apparently we're, when I take a look at my budget, so we're at a higher budget, lets power production facilities hire more people, producing more electricity. So I would have thought that we would have been producing less than 8 megawatts out of our windmill because I was underfunding it. I'm going to close this out and see if that helps with my power situation. I'm going to guess no. Obviously it went away. Yeah, we're definitely getting brownouts though. So, while I still have money, let's put down another windmill. Again, I want to be a little careful in terms of where I'm putting it. I do want to... I want to try and put them like reasonably close to each other, but I also want to make sure that I'm getting like the full 8 megawatts. So that should automatically translate into the grid, so... Green energy is the best! I hope the mayor continues on this path of renewable energy. Hashtag green energy. Alright, so presumably the costs are going to go up. Alright, looks like there is more demand for commercial now as well. I don't actually have any really good spots for commercial right now. So I'm going to do something a little cheesy. Actually, it's not that bad. I don't want to get rid of the whole thing. I just want to... Basically, just want to make sure that I'm still able to do blocks, but giving people little... Ah, damn you. All right. Ah, now do they have water? That's a slightly more important question. They do! That was some great city planning by someone. And apparently we're still short on... So we have demand for industry, but we don't... we're still short on workers. So I suppose this may be the consequence of my... my decision to raise taxes rather than... Well, no, because, I don't know. I still think I made the right call there. Now, what I am a little curious about, because we're inching ever so close to... we're inching ever so close to a balance, or, well, a budget surplus. I'm going to try cutting the power a little bit, and I just want to see how that affects my... electricity generation, because obviously right now I'm spending too much. The other thing I want to do is take a look at... Okay, so first of all, let's find a historical... Which building do you think should be turned into a historical building? The game told me I could do that, and I never followed it up on the chance. Yeah, you know what? This building looks kind of nice. Historical building can still level up, but its visual appearance will be preserved. Actually, this building looks a little bit like the house I grew up in, but... alright. We're back to a budget surplus. Apparently there's still demand for commercial districts, which surprises me a little bit. Oh! Okay, looks like you say you want the smallest little hut. I am very curious what this little notification is, so I'm going to pause just to see what's going on with that. So, historical building can still... Okay, yep, that's fine. I register you on the historical building idea. Taxes are too high. If you don't like it, you can leave. This is the point of me raising prices on you, sir. There's a lot of people who want to live here, and I don't need you. So one thing I'm a little curious about is if I can afford to... So one thing that's happening right now is I've got two paths that are going in the same direction. Looks like there's a bit of... Looks like there's a little bit of gridlock here, so let me just take a quick minute and see the info view. Let's just take a minute and see what our roads are looking like. So the thing I'm sort of thinking about is, like, what if I just made this a constant downward move? Then the question is, how would people who want to move up the streets go? Well, I suppose they'd go here. Okay, let's see if I can actually get away with that. So it says that it's already... I don't know how I feel about that, but... and then here we'll change the direction. I'm just a little curious to see what this will wind up doing to my... my traffic flows. And... I don't have like a dedicated up, but I'm going to... I'm gonna live with this for now. I don't feel good about it, but let's see. I enjoy your methodical approach to games. It's easy when you play just 3 times speed and becomes a game of whack-a-mole. Well, part of it is just for me to keep my sanity. The only thing is, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if there's a way for me to get kind of aggro to get opinions. Obviously, people are mad about their taxes, but I happen to like, you know, balanced budget. So... and I have, you know, like, it's supply and demand. Like, okay, sure, you're mad about your taxes, but it looks like there's more people who want to live here than there are people mad about the taxes, so that's a lot of people mad about the taxes, though. This is Philip, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, obviously I'm building... I'm raising the taxes, I'm giving more residential zoning. Everybody's mad about the taxes, but, like, they still want to live here, so... let's just see what my other services look like. So, as far as water's concerned, yeah, we're good. More than enough electricity. How's the education going? Yeah, we're okay. Health. Health is improving. Obviously, residential happiness. So it would be kind of neat if I could figure out some specifics in terms of how, like, so clearly the game's telling me that people are mad about taxes, and I say if you want to live in a nice city with, like, good services and whatnot, get used to paying for it. I suppose I can afford to lower the taxes a little bit, though, seeing as we're back to... Achievement unlocked, well-informed. Have a good look into all the different info view panels. I feel good about that. I mean, here we are really generating quite the surplus, so... Oops. Let's... Alright. Fortunately, there's no elections in this, but let's keep that at 75. Actually, I could probably afford to make that lower. So, in the name of fiscal responsibility, we'll lower residential taxes a little bit, but we'll also cut services. The reason I did raise taxes was because I was lower at the... Sorry, I was a little low on cash at the time. Anyways, so you're talking about methodical approach. I mean, like, this is the thing, is that if I play games like this and I just run in, I tend to struggle, and I tend to struggle very quickly. Whereas something like this, like, especially when I'm learning a game, it's kind of nice to say, it's like, okay, I push this button and it does, you know, X, Y, or Z thing. And even if it winds up being a complete disaster, like, even if I just wind up making the worst possible decision in the game, and, I mean, there's been no shortage of times where people are like, you idiot, why did you push that button? It's like, because sometimes you just need to burn your hand on the stove and learn the lesson that way. And this is one of the things that's kind of nice about streaming. Do I really want to continue making this a... Now, you know what? I'm going to make this a two-way street now. So one of the really nice things about streaming, because I want to have something to talk about, I do tend to give voice to sort of my thought process here. So, in this case where I'm talking about, okay, I'm going to raise the taxes because I have a high demand for residential areas, and more space than what I know what to do with. The basic economic argument. But it would be nice to have people be a little bit more happy. Speaking of, let's take a look at where we're at with happiness. All right, so residences are still relatively unhappy, and it looks like the ones who just recently moved in here are unhappy. So let's take a look and see if we can get some information about where they are. It says they're unhappy, but at least on my screen, I don't see what's going on with that. Again, I am contending with the fact that the Xbox... Oh, all right. My cost-cutting measures seem to have come back to bite me. Let's see what we're looking at for power. Yep, well, that'll do it. We've got a fine budget surplus, so let's go back to the budget. Let's give them... I'll give them 80% for now. And I should probably take the time to see where we're at for our other... Oh, yeah. Oh god, everybody, they're gonna... The city's completely run out of power, or they're gonna drown in their own poop. Ego Karen, it's going great, despite rumors you may have heard to the contrary. Alright, what are we looking at here? Now this is a little strange, because... At least according to this... Oh, you know what? It's probably because the sewage treatment's out of power. I wonder if there's a way to assign priority to certain services. Alright, honestly, there's no reason for me to be stingy on the budget stuff, so... Fine, you can have 90% of the budget. Still not enough. I don't know how much of the lag there is to these decisions. Fine, we'll fully fund the power department. People keep complaining, oh, lower my taxes, lower my taxes. Okay, well, power isn't a necessity, right? Ah, why am I drowning in my own sewage? Anyways, crisis averted, and apparently we're still making money. Alright, what are we looking at? 189 children, 93 teens, no young adults, 324 adults. Everything's level 1, but presumably that's the way it works. There's your evidence, by the way, Johnny, that the name is Chirper. Oh, we can change the Chirper look. Let's stick with the default for now, but we'll move on. Alright, more things I wanted in my info views. I'll still let the game run while I make these decisions, but... okay, so water, we're fine. Education... we need to spend more on education because we've got 200 eligible and no capacity, and I didn't get any warnings about that, so... you know what, we'll double the budget, we'll bring it up to 100% because we basically need to double the capacity. Okay, so more info. Actually, we need to more than double it. I might even just wind up building another school, but for now, let's... I'll go 150 on that. We are a worthy village! Everyone drowning in poop without power sounds like a good intro to the apocalypse. Well, that's probably going to be another thing that we get to see at PDXCon tomorrow, surviving the aftermath. Sorry, by the way, oh yeah, actually, I didn't even mention this. I went out and bought this headset. The reason I am streaming so late is that I actually went out and bought this headset specifically so I could stream this game. And I'm sure, like, I'm having a great time with this. Like, I love just picking apart this game and seeing how it works. And I'll admit, one thing I really like is using the thumb controls to, like, move over the map. Sometimes I screw it up, but I love being able to do slightly more kind of camera-ish sort of work. I think that's really cool. So this game works surprisingly well on console. Well, okay, either this game works surprisingly well on console, or my expectations were completely wrong, or I do not remember. It starts with a T. There's a team that did the adaptation of this, and I suspect they just did an outstanding job of it. But anyways, yeah, so like I'm probably actually going to wind up spending like $150 when I include the cost of this headset and buying the other DLC for this, but it's the most expensive press key I've ever gotten, but oh man, it's so worth it. So we can unlock a new area, not that we've made the most of our existing area. We can unlock districts, policies, we can get a second loan, not that we needed the first loan, district specialization, services policies, we can get new services, fire department, police department, unique buildings, industry specializations, so we can focus on forestry and agriculture. We don't have that many trees, and most of the trees are actually in the most of the trees are on the residential side, so we probably won't do these industry specializations. We'll see what we can do. New policies on power usage, water usage, and smoke detector distribution, and new buildings, firehouse, police station, firehouse. Okay. Actually, this is one thing I was meaning to do. I saw those different kinds of schools, so I'm going to take a minute and see what the story was there. Also, Little Hamlet. Okay, it's all the same. So, here are the special buildings. We get the Chirpex launch site, the Statue of Liberty. Apparently you've already gotten that. The Arc de Triomphe, the Brandenburg Gate, the Eiffel Tower, Central Terminal, Amsterdam Place, Sports Arena, Cathedral, Cinema, City Hall, Department Store, the Gherkin, Government Offices, Hypermarket, the London Eye, Shopping Center, and Theatre. Fun. Okay. So first thing I want to do is see what's going on at Mayor. That's great news. City can now annex new adjacent areas. Hashtag new possibilities. I do rather like the name Annex. I'm thinking much more of Paradox's other titles in terms of annexation. That's probably not what they meant, but... Ego Karen says, this is the apocalypse. This is no exercise. This is the apocalypse. Everyone leave the building and stay calm. This is the apocalypse. This is no exercise. I am now forever going... Oh, I think Mr. Steely Dan wanted us to pick, like, the smallest shack to remain a historical building. I believe this counts as the smallest shack, so... I dubbed the historical building number 2. Alright, moving right along, we had a school. This is a clinic. Relocate building, nope. Budget panel, traffic routes... Okay. I don't need to rename it. I was just wondering what the deal was about default. Intersections, districts, yeah. I was just wondering if there was like a different skin that I could apply to this stuff, because it seemed like there was one. Okay, anyways. We've moved up in the world. Let's take a minute to take stock. So as far as residential areas, we do have some demand for it, but we are, like, we're pretty covered as far as the zoning is concerned. People just need to take advantage of what is there, what's there. Now, one thing I am noticing is, let's see with our industry. Okay, so we do have some unused industrial area. I've noticed that there's a little bit of demand popping up, but we do have this column which hasn't been touched yet, so we'll let them... We'll leave them to their own devices in that regard. We are going to need to put down emergency services. So fires can occur in your city. To prevent buildings from being destroyed by fire, you need to have a properly equipped fire department in your city. In case of fire, the closest fire department building sends out a fire truck to help. But how long it takes to arrive depends on the size of roads and how well connected areas in the city are. Depending on the size of the fire, multiple fire engines can be dispatched to put it out. Helicopters can reach destinations with no road access, and are the only way to extinguish forest fires. Build fire watch towers to spot forest fires easily. And then police and crime. Police patrol the city to keep crime under control. To maintain a low crime rate, make sure that police service buildings have good connections to the city so that, I'm assuming, patrol cars, the Twitch app is blocking that word, can respond to calls quickly. Police helicopters patrol areas, but need ground vehicles to catch criminals. Police patrols decrease the crime rate. High unemployment and low education increase the crime rate. Again, I really do like the simulation aspects of this. Alright, So first thing I wanted to do, which I was neglecting, was let's see what our traffic is looking like. So as feared, this intersection is a little bit of a devil. So this is going to be another one of those ones where I'm like, this will either be a disaster for me, or this might actually solve a lot, so... Just trying to think through... So obviously I want someone to be able to leave the city at some point. Yeah, that's not going to work. What are they mad about? See, I think the only thing I've wound up doing here, though, is... oh, that's why they're mad. I think I've just wound up causing the same problem further down the line. Although, in my defense, at least I'm forcing... I'm kind of forcing the direction one way or the other. Actually, in this case, almost all of my roads are, like, one direction. I think I just screwed up my traffic, to be completely honest. I guess it won't show me the coverage. Alright, well, let's see... Let's see what terrible things I just did to my traffic patterns. This might have actually worked, after all. Oh my god, what is he doing? This is Mad Max! I mean, it could be worse. Let's take a look at that education coverage. So we are well over capacity, so even though the budget's doing okay, let's not go crazy. So we'll head down to 100% on the education budget. You should read the stream title. This is on Xbox. You were wondering why the interface looks so... Yeah. So this is the first time I'm streaming anything on Xbox. It's the first time I'm really substantively playing City Skylines at all. And it's the... let's take a look at garbage collection. Oh, that's looking for... Oh, no, hang on. We got a problem here. It looks like the garbage collection's not reaching these guys. Oh, God, this may wind up... This may wind up sucking, but I'm gonna try it. God damn it. Pushing the wrong button all the time. I don't want to upgrade, I just want to build. Alright, let's see what horrible... Well, you know what? That actually can't be that bad. I have no idea why industry is not taking advantage of this area that's available to it. Against my better judgment, though, I am going to put down some more industrial areas here. Okay, so let's see what the consequences for the traffic were. Alright, so we do have garbage access, which is good. Obviously, I still need to put down the emergency services. We're okay for power, but I do need to start considering where we're going with that. traffic. Okay, that actually wound up smoothing things out a lot more than I was expecting, so I'm feeling reasonably good about everything. We are really overspending on hospitals, I suspect. All right. We've got a lot of fire hazards, so we're going to pause the game. We're lucky that fires haven't broken out already. Let's take a look at what the routes will look like. So I think I'm going to say that fire is the higher priority at the moment here. And the one thing I'm kind of paying attention to here is like where do the gray areas turn out? So like I'm not crazy about the fact that way back in the map there. Oh, this looks good actually. Put a fire station like not quite what I wanted to do, but okay. So apparently if I put so I'm a little weirded out by the fact that I can't put the fire station like here. But if I put it here, it looks like everyone gets coverage. Again, I'm not entirely crazy about the fact that some residential areas way in the corner are going to be like the furthest distance from it. But the fact that I can cover the entire town with fire services. Yeah, so there's like that one corner store which is like, this sucks. Alright, so I'm also going to assume that crime is a bigger problem in the industrial areas, although maybe that's not right, because again, there's going to be that one poor corner store where it's like, why don't I get released? I mean, I guess I can try and put them like here, but I don't think that's going to have any of the effects that I want. Well, I mean, I lose some industrial capacity, but that's not terrible. But I do also lose a bunch for my residentials. Again, the residences are going to be the ones who are paying the taxes, so I do kind of want to make sure that they're happy. So again, it sort of sucks. Oh, no. It sort of sucks that we have this one blind spot for the police force, but this is such a good spot otherwise. Again, in principle, I can sort of put them on the side here. Yes, it's stepping on some industry, but whatever. I mean, the other alternative is I go hard and like put services in the residential areas, but as you can see, like the way that I've set up the roads, it's going to create these sort of labyrinthine paths, and that's maybe not like in this case. I get all of the problems of having a police station in the neighborhood and none of the benefits. Speaking of which, I wanted a little bit of info on the police. Oh no, don't pause. Heather Cook, the city receives its first fire engine. Citizens already feel safer than before. #fireproof. So no noise pollution, no pollution. Yeah, I always kind of assumed that there was a negative in terms of having a police station or a fire station, because I would have assumed that it would be loud, but I guess it's not like people really are, and they don't complain about emergency services doing their job. It's nice to play fantasy games. Have you messed with... No, I actually just got them. So we'll do that in just a minute. I'm assuming the reason I'm not able to do interesting stuff on this side is just because of the weird little bumps in the grids, but whatever. I won't complain too loudly about it. So yeah, we'll put police down in the same spot, and presumably there. Oh no, even the corner store that thought everything sucked was happy with that placement. So life is good. We're obviously making a fairly decent amount of money, but I do know they talked about smoke. I know they talked about smoke detector distribution, and I like this music. But let's take a look and see what some of the radios are. So we've got City Skylines, we've got Classics, we've got Cities Radio, Gold FM, Official Mars. Oh man, or concerts. I'm sorry to do. I really like this soundtrack as it is, but Surviving Mars has such a wonderful soundtrack on its own. Let's take a minute here and turn on Official Mars Radio. See how appropriate it is. Ooh, that's a little loud. at least for me. We won't do it for long, but I want to see how it works with this one. Okay, we're going to do policies as well. All right. Energy conservation is important, and the best way to do it is by installing energy meters in buildings. Moderately reduced electricity consumption, upkeep 5 cents a building. Water usage, cut those shower times in half and guide citizens to a more sustainable water usage by installing water meters in buildings. Upkeep 5 cents a building. Moderately reduced water consumption and smoke detector distribution make citizens' life safer with the fire department and the fire department's job easier by installing smoke detectors in buildings. No more will poor cooking skills lead to house fires, at least not as often. Significantly reduced risk of fire. So definitely distribution, but at this point we've got a pretty big surplus. So let's just go for all of the policies at this point. Looks like we don't have any other policies available right now, but I'm going to say that I can spend the money better than my citizens. The long arm of the law reaches the city, and I feel safer already. Hashtag I am the law. Genetically manipulated corn grows 3 times faster than regular corn. Organic food lobbyists hungry for negative impacts. Here's another thing I want to try. Areas. Or is it areas or... No. I don't want to buy another one. Someone know how much this hashtag energy meter consumes electricity? There's something about districts that I'm interested in. Alright, I've changed my mind. I like surviving Mars, but this one isn't working for me, and it's a little intense, so... Okay, so let's take a look at... So, I mean, this is not a number I would be proud of in terms of fire safety. We're getting a little close to the edge on our electricity. Provide good services and education and have a high land value, the zone buildings in your city can be improved to higher level buildings. Higher level buildings pay more taxes and house more people or offer more jobs. Pollution is reduced in higher level industry. Alright, so good services, good education. It doesn't really indicate how I can get the land value up. So yeah, let's work on trying to get... Alright, I'm a little weirded out by the processing status for this thing. Roads now have names. Click on the name to open the information panel about the road in question. Alright. Had a buffer. It's quite loud? Okay. It's loud for me too, but I don't know how it translates. Let's just go back to the basic. It's fun to have the different soundtracks and whatnot, but I'm not 100% sure how I can change the settings. Obviously, I kind of ran into this... I ran into this really excited to try out some new stuff. So clearly, there's some basics like being able to set music levels and whatnot, which I'm not clear on. Holy crap! We just lost a whole bunch of money. So let's just take a minute and regroup. There's a few things that I can do here. Number one... oh right, it's because of the police and fire. We just added a ton to our budget. So I'm definitely willing to tax commercial, and let's actually try and knock up the residential taxes a little bit too. I do, however, need to provide some more commercial areas. Let's get an idea of what we're looking at, because I am going to start building some more industry as well. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I should have done this a little bit earlier. Oh, sorry about that, Ego. So yeah, hopefully it's not as bad here. Like, clearly the soundtrack is very different for the main game. Yeah, let me know if there's any problems hearing me here. This is kind of a band-aid solution as far as the... Really? You're gonna make me cancel it, huh? Alright. Obviously it's a shame to have to do that, but this is partly just to make sure that I don't wind up in that ugly situation where some of the pollution from industry bleeds into it. But clearly I'm going to need to make a decision in terms of, like, in terms of commercial districts. I think what I'll do is I'll just... it's not exactly a buffer zone because I don't expect to... Like, I don't expect to put anything that'll make the neighborhood unhappy. But this will help me out with my commercial needs. And as far as residential is concerned, I think I'm going to need to decide... So I guess the question is, do I want to continue going to the left? Or do I want to consider, you know, further move down? I mean, moving down, at some point it's going to get me to this dock. I have no idea what this dock will wind up doing. I think for now I'm going to continue moving to the west. But I think it is also going to invite some decisions in terms of, like, where am I going to put more police stations and whatnot. So first of all, let's start with our... Okay, actually, first up, I know we're getting short on electricity. How much am I shorting the power company right now? We're at 100%. No point in paying overtime. Let's just build another... We can afford more... more turbines, so the question is, can I get another 8 down? I can indeed. Can I thread the needle? How's the music now, by the way? Alright. So next up, I'm going to have to worry about if I'm going to be moving out sort of to the west here. Now, there is a reasonable statement to be saying, well, you know, probably at this point we should consider some, like, acquiring water on this side. Yes, but for now, I'm not doing that. It's mostly just because our existing capacity is fine. This is mostly just about laying the infrastructure for future expansion. We shouldn't need to worry about the power. There is a little bit of an argument, actually. I could probably knock down these power... I could probably knock down these towers just because the electricity should probably transmit through all the buildings, but that strikes me as a really hard problem to fix if I don't do it right. So for now, I'm just going to leave it be. I guess last thing I need to do is figure out my roads. So let's keep going with the pattern that I have here, which is the top to be just a continual one-way street. I definitely feel like I should be doing alternating, like one down this way, one right, one left, one right. You know what, let's get that fixed. All the people getting used to this commute are going to be raging. Or is my new headset just really quiet? Well, I don't know. I mean, it's a new headset, so it's... I suppose this is as close as I can get. Well, I don't know. I can move this around a little bit. I'm just not quite sure where the range of it being picked up. I suspect it probably doesn't sound as good as my regular mic. See, now this is the trick. This one I'm actually willing to... This one I'm willing to double up, because this is sort of like a big connection between the industrial and the residential. So this I'm fine keeping the way it is, because this big loop winds up being sort of the heart of the city. Anyways, let's see how this goes. Obviously, I can also make some decisions in terms of how the... like, I'm doing this left and right, I'm not doing this up and down. So there's an argument to be made that I can possibly get some more efficiencies in my ways if I apply some of the same rules. Not enough... Did I really spend that much money on roads? Alright. Changing my ambit. I didn't even see... Man, I had $10,000 at some point. I probably should have been paying attention to what this stuff cost. I might have actually just put myself in a really tough spot. Okay, that's fine. I'm not getting that money back, so let's... just focus on building this one at a time. Oh, you know what? It's probably all of that... It's probably all that water infrastructure that I built. I wasn't paying attention at all. I do know there's a loan feature. I'm trying not to take a loan, because I was doing such a good job without it. But if I get desperate... I'll take it. But for now, I want to see what some of the fiscal choices I've made. We're definitely going to be getting a bunch of new inhabitants. So, but we also don't have a lot of runway. So let's see if I can get myself out of the hole. Green energy is the best. I hope the mayor continues on this path of renewable energy. Hashtag green energy. Again, we should have some fairly fat tax revenue coming in a little bit. And we did just hit a negative... I don't know if that means that we're losing citizens, or we're losing unhappy people, or what it is. Alright, we'll see it in a minute. Yeah, it does look like some people are moving out. And that makes sense, because we did just raise taxes on everyone. Now, while this is running, let's see if we can find out... Okay, so we've got more than enough electricity, low crime rate. Again, nobody really wants to see this. Alright, we're definitely going to need some more fire coverage for the new areas, but that's going to be expensive. Alright, so time for a little austerity, my friends. Cut the teachers a bit. I'm have any unique buildings, so we can't find any savings there. We've already cut the water. Yeah, so teachers are really the only degree of freedom I have here. I suppose I can cut a little bit from power because I did just build that new turbine, but I'm probably going to have to turn that up in a little bit. So far I'm not getting any complaints about taxes. So this is mostly so I can just turn around and lower them later, but for now we're going to just tax the hell out of people. At least until they start complaining. It looks like industry's finally starting to make use of some of those new plots. Or, well, they're making use of the new plots, but they're actually also making use of the plot that they had not been paying attention to. I'm a little curious what's going on with this one. Okay, so that one's not developed. I'm astonished that people are not complaining about taxes. Alright, so apparently I screwed up and I cut too deep on the electricity budget. This is the trade-off. Like, yes, you can cut services, yes, you can raise taxes, but you can't raise taxes and not actually provide the services that people want. Tomb of a long-lost pharaoh found in Valley of the Kings. Hashtag lost and found. All right, so we're back on track in terms of the budget. We do still seem to be short on power. What's the deal there? It's just my impatience. Wow, these people have put up with anything as far as taxes are concerned. Seeing as I am going to need to provide some more services to take care of this side of the city, so what I could do is I could build a second fire and police station sort of in the center here, and then I just cut their budget so that I make sure that the... Like, basically we have the nodes to help out. So we have the nodes for coverage, and but they're just generating less protection individually. Nope, and looks like our cuts to the teachers were a little too deep, so we'll bring you up to 90%. I'm curious what it costs for another... The new police department's going to cost me 12 grand. New fire department's going to cost probably the same. 12 grand, yeah. While seeing some city skylines, just remember you have a YouTuber that you watch a lot. You went to check his channel again 12 hours ago. He uploaded his first video in a year. Oh, cool! Yeah, I think I'm going to skip taking a loan because we're generating enough... Like, we're generating 1,000... in tax revenue, and in fact it's just residential areas that are in high demand, so in this case I'm gonna... 29% seems really high, but I'm gonna see whether or not people complain about it, and if they don't... This is really to discourage people from going into this area, which does not have fire coverage right now. Alright, yeah, that's predictable. 29% is pretty high, but we'll take it down to a 20% and see whether or not people are... We're experiencing a tax revolt. The real thing I want to do is start cutting taxes for business so they start using all my industrial areas. Alright, tax revolt's not going away, so... Nope. You gotta pay up like everyone else. Yeah, I'm not quite ready to cut the industrial zones. Yeah, deal with it, guys. At least until I can buy you a new fire department. I'm just gonna mess around with the buttons to see what they do here. Oh, neat. Okay. Yeah, these controls are actually quite intuitive. Okay, you know what? So the fact that people are still coming into the city and that there's more demand for residences, if they're going to complain about taxes, yeah, I'm going to raise them 10%. If everybody's mad, everybody's mad. At least I'll be making money. If the rate at which people are coming into the city decreases, I'll start worrying then, but right now it looks like we're adding more bodies. Next thing I'm going to do, because I'm a monster, we're going to cut taxes on industry, because we have some slack there. I could potentially do that on... yeah, actually. Commercial will take it down to 15, because we actually have a lot of slack in that as well. Yeah, you're mad your taxes are high. You'll be even more mad when your house burns down, so... As long as the population doesn't go down, I'm going to be happy. They won't be, but I will be. And as beautiful as this game looks... okay, we're right where we want to be for elementary schools. Sewage treatment's getting a little soft, but not... At Power Plant, the new energy meters encourage citizens to conserve #electricity. Benefits are almost instant. More people still want to come in. Alright, so it looks like there's increasing demand for commercials, so let's take them up to 17. I'm sorry, I can't tax you anymore. I'd love to, but it's just not happening, my friends. But let's go for some extreme measures, and let's reduce taxes on industry to 1%. Again, I would like to raise revenues for the fire department. I'm not ready to take out the loan yet. But basically, as long as the city keeps growing at this pace, and I'm able to fund the... Alright, so this is becoming a pretty extreme complaint. Vacation was extended. Could someone water the plants while we're gone? The key is in the flower pot on the porch. Alright. Yeah, looks like people are hopping mad about this now. And we're definitely seeing a reduction in the... in population growth. And, okay, so industry's also looking for people, so we've gone too far. We cut your taxes 9% because we listen to you, the people. I don't think they're going to buy it, but in the meantime, I do have enough money to start building more roads. So... Again, I'm really scared to do this because I don't think there's fire coverage. Actually, no, I'll put the school and the fire department in this next one. Again, people want to live here, so... And... Alright, and people are leaving. Now again, that might be the side effects of the really high taxation, so... We'll take this down to 19, we will reach parity with the commercial zones. I'm not going to adjust my taxes any further. Because people were able to live with this in the past. I'm getting the impression that as sad as it is, you don't think you can stay any longer as your internet is crashing every few minutes, so have fun, build a nice city, you're going to try to fix your internet. Bye, System Chalk, bye, chat. A pleasure to have you as always, Ego Karen. We are a little over 2 hours, so I've probably got another hour left in me for this. It is kind of interesting. I'm assuming that there are lags in terms of enacting your tax policies and whatnot. So I'm going to assume that we're going to have quite a few departures as a result of this. I'm not really inclined to give any more space to the tax protests right now. Okay, this is mildly encouraging, so if I want I could bulldoze all these houses and we could actually build... in here. I'll think about it. And alright, so I'm going to hold out on this, and I want to see what happens to my population as time ticks by. Yeah, so more people are leaving, and we're losing money, so... Fine, down to 15. This is lower than what you had before. I know you're mad about it, but I'm staying firm on this. And there's a fire. See? This is what happens when you're... It's a fire at the elementary school. Oh God, how many children? Oh no, little Timmy! Oh, the humanity! I want to destroy the roads just so I can watch this thing really go up in flames. Wait, I don't need to pay the teachers while they're on leave, do I? Anyways, the good news is I don't get to see people complaining about their taxes right now. So, oh, maybe it's the tax rioters who set the elementary school. Yes, this is canon for whatever the hell the city's called. The tax rioters decided to express their displeasure at the high taxation by setting the elementary school on fire. That's fine. Look, it's not even singed. That's some good work there, fire department. Boy, I sure am glad we've had enough money in the treasury to pay you. Ooh, this is looking kind of grim. Again, I'm assuming that part of this is digesting the really wild tax policy I had before, and I'm assuming this is one of the ways that the game sets it up so that you can't do wild swings like that. I'm not sure I want to lower the taxes any further, though. Man, even commercial's mad about the taxes. Alright. Here's what I'm gonna do. This may prove very costly. We're gonna take everyone down to 12%. Industry's gonna stay where they're at. We're gonna cut 15% out of the police and fire, so we're still gonna be at a net increase. I'm gonna take a... Yikes. Yeah, I'm gonna take the global credit 60,000 loan. And I'm gonna turn that around into some new services. I didn't even really see what the coverage would be like there. Wow, that elementary school doesn't cover any. I'm assuming this is because I've done some kind of like wacky roadways. The newly unlocked building, the elementary school, you say? What's that other elementary school I've got? I feel a little weird doing this, but I'm hoping that it winds up servicing another set of residential areas that I take care of. So the drawback here, of course, is that we are going to be paying through the nose for all of this. for a while. I'm also going to start taking a look. Okay, construction costs. This isn't too devastating. I am going to do my pattern still. So again, despite all of the, all of the madness before, we still have a lot of demand for residential and commercial for that matter, but we definitely have unused space. So I'm okay building more residential areas for the rest. So the real drawback here is that we probably have more spaces. Like, we have the ability to do a lot with our services, and we're going to be paying for services that are ultimately not being used. My expectation is that, okay, so the tax riots are now done. Thing is, I don't know if I have enough of a tax base to be able to cover all these new services. Yep. But I'll run the deficits for a little while. We'll get back on track. Okay, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak in. I'm going to take them back up to 18 for both. Oh, no, they didn't like that. All right, all right, all right. Yeah, they saw the trick. We gotta boil the frog is the lesson here. Yeah, so we're gonna get absolutely crushed on our budget. Okay, if they don't want to pay their taxes, then they are gonna have to go without. You know what? We're not gonna put so much out of the fire department. And I'm gonna cut back on education for a bit. And I also want just an idea in terms of... Okay, 144 students. It's 25, so that one less of a priority. So yeah, essentially what I'm just trying to do here is find the right balance in terms of coverage. I am actually very surprised. Ooh, that doesn't have good coverage at all, actually. Wait, really? So nothing's covering these guys? I am mildly tempted to actually try and make some of these streets one way now. A renegade group of archaeologists discovered that the pyramids are indeed landing platforms for spaceships. Hashtag ancient aliens, hashtag WTF. Yeah, so the whole point on building that fire department was to try and cover the area not covered by this guy. Oh wait, no, but I see why. Because if this is one way... Well, no, that still doesn't make sense, because the fire truck should be able to move up and, like, around like this. So I don't want to mess around with, like, the major arteries of the city, but here's what I'm going to try and do instead. First of all, can I put down roads? I can. Okay. So it's out of the city limits. It's fine, I'll push it to the... This is a little trickier than I thought. I think this should do the trick. Yeah. Tiny town, 1,000 people, so we've got landscaping, event policies, park policies. Leisure services, level 2 unique buildings, and football. New policies, pet ban, smoking ban, parks and recreation, schools out, subsidized youth, come one, come all, match security, new canals, shallow canal, medium canal, deep canal, a quay, a flood wall, high school, public library, park with trees, large playground, plaza with picnic tables, small park, small playground, plaza with trees, Paradox Plaza, Carousel Park, Bouncy Castle Park, basketball court, botanical garden, dog park, Japanese garden. It's a lot of cool stuff, and it's going to be stuff that I can't afford to use because I took that big loan and I'm having trouble paying it off. So my idea here is I'm trying to make sort of a not very convenient, but like available two-way street. This right now is a test, and I want to see if that improves the fire safety at all. Slightly, but not in the places I want it to. Alright, I think I need to understand a little more about what's going on here, so... Oh, nope, I'm pretty sure I see what's happening. Does somebody know how much this hashtag energy meter consumes electricity? Alright. Let's try and boil the frog a little bit. On taxes, we're going to do 1% increase on these two groups. Okay, so when I take a look at my roads, it's the fact that I've dedicated to these one-way streets. What I'm going to do here is try to... I'm going to put this as an upgrade. See if I can get away with that. So basically, because I've doubled up this spot here, we'll say right in the middle. You can go both ways. Let's see if that helps out with anything. Problem solved, and I bet I don't need this very silly extension. I'm assuming you have to maintain roads. It doesn't make any sense to have that redundancy. Alright. Feeling slightly better about that. Now, crime is going up, unfortunately. Are we... Yeah, hospitals are gonna sneak in another tax increase. Oh, nope. I pissed them off. Oh, come on, I put the taxes right back down. Are you really gonna... Alright. Looks like I can get away with it with the, God, we're losing so much money, though. Alright, what else can we cut from the budget? I don't want to get rid of my policies. Can I raise taxes on? And looks like industry is getting a little demand again, so let's get them to pay... I don't want to go too crazy, but let's get them up to 7%. Okay, commercial did not like that at all. Okay, so we found equilibrium with the... I'm actually curious, if we make industry pay as much as everyone else, is the demand for industry going to go completely away? Latest news, rocket packs tested in controlled environment. We hit a wall a few times, otherwise it was great, sums up the report. Hashtag ban walls. Alright, now at some point I'm going to need to... I'm going to need to start putting these new services in. Remember, have a look at the newly unlocked service. Okay. Unique buildings. Unique buildings are gained by achieving various things while playing, both positive and negative. Unique buildings attract tourists to the city. There can only be one of each unique building unit at the same time in your city. Unique buildings carry over to new game sessions, so after unlocking them, they will be available to you in future cities every time you reach a relevant milestone. Alright, I'm curious. So, Statue of Liberty. And it's too expensive. Oh, yeah, 210,000 is a little rich for my blood. Although it looks like there's a stadium as well. Fumbo! How much does it cost, though? 200,000. Alright, well. I'm going to assume these are all prohibitively expensive. Leisure. You can make your city more attractive and comfortable by building parks, plazas, and paths, or by planting trees in empty areas. Decorative elements raise citizen happiness, which helps buildings evolve. Okay. So I have a few ideas about how these parks and whatnot are going to work. I'm thinking I might be able to... Maybe I'll, like, bulldoze the lowest value elements in each of these little grids. And I will, I'll be able to raise the property values. Well, before we do that, I should review my budget. Oops, that's not so good. Alright, so let's take a look at some of our major expenses. I'm going to need to take a minute because the Twitch app is... Okay, so largest item in the budget is water. That's always been true. Followed by police and fire. Now, okay, I may come to regret this, but seeing as we did just improve our roadways and we doubled up our coverage for police and fire, I feel a little bit better cutting that budget. Our policies, oh man, we could get rid of the entire deficit by killing those policies. I mean, some of the money's going to the bank. Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of buildings now, so... Smoking ban. Make a choice between a healthier lifestyle and civil liberty. It will make your citizens, but some people will certainly be high-strung. Slightly increased health, slightly decreased happiness. Parks and recreation. Make your parks and plazas the envy of the country. Moderately increased land value around parks and plazas. Increases the parks and plazas budget by 20%. I'm going to hit this one because I don't have parks and plazas right now. Citizens will prefer working over education, and only a small portion of eligible citizens will go to study in the university. Well, I don't have a university yet, so... Okay, so we won't do a smoking ban. Pet ban. Tired of watching your step to avoid animal droppings? Banning pets is a sure way to get rid of that problem. Then again, you might be killing a fly with a sledgehammer here. Yeah, we're not doing that. So power usage and water. I have a feeling that power is going to be the one that I want to keep under control a little bit more, but let's just take a look at what we're working with here. So Yeah, electricity, slightly concerning, way too much. Like, we've got a huge surplus as far as water is concerned, so we can definitely kill that water usage policy. And I'm assuming I've already cut the budget to the bone as far as water is concerned, right? Yeah. So, I do want to be a little careful in the power because we're starting to get to yellow territory again. I'm assuming we haven't solved all the problems. I think the game shows you, like, derelict buildings if it's not being used. Okay, I think I might want to loosen up a little bit on industry just because I do have some unused territory here. But I'll see if I can get away with charging a little bit more in tax. So let's knock 2% off industry. Industry isn't that much of a cash cow, I don't think. No, residential is. So let's see if we can add another percent to... Oh, nope, nope. Okay. I know my limit with residential. Hopefully that goes away soon. So, I suppose... I mean, one, I can try building more buildings, but at this point I think I need to try and improve the value. So what are we looking at for land value here? I mean, it's okay. Let's get the info views to give me some ideas about the less valuable parts of the city. Okay, so these seem like some prime candidates to start bulldozing. God, there's so much demand for residential right now. So what's the least expensive building I can build here? So 1,000 for a park, 50 for a small playground, 5,000 for a park with trees, 75 for large. I'm assuming this is just increase. Oh no, it isn't just increasing. And some of these look really good, but I don't think I'm quite ready to... Maybe a Japanese garden. And then for the rest here, plaza with trees. Beautiful tiles combined with large trees make this a sight to behold. People come to the plaza to meet friends and hang out. Paradox Plaza, $1,000. The plaza has become a traditional gathering place for gamers and game developers around the world. Game enthusiasts visit Paradox Plaza to share ideas and get inspired by others. Alright. Kind of want to look at undeveloped areas. So let's pause for a second here, because I am going to start bulldozing stuff. So we'll start with the Paradox Plaza because it's cheap. Oh, I didn't need to destroy all that stuff. I feel like a bit of a jerk now. So low property values are definitely on the rim. Let's say that's kind of close to a say these guys are going to get bulldozed. I don't feel great about that because it is a... Whoa. Oh, props. Okay. Small park. That does not look like a small park, but... There's a little bit of a dilemma that I'm facing here, which is the fact that, so this is kind of on the rim, right? So it's not going to help some of these other areas. Again, I clearly have a really high demand for residential areas, and presumably I will get more capacity if I can increase the land value and get people to sort of make better use of the areas that they're in. But then I have sort of that trade-off of like, okay, you know, that's all well and good, but I'm also going to have to demolish some of my existing housing capacity. I bet I can get away with a leisure building. Yeah, see, I don't want to destroy... this has some possibilities, I think. Again, it's all kind of on the rim, which doesn't make me feel great, but... Still got some money left. I wonder if there's... Yeah, this is small, so maybe we can get by with... It doesn't count as a roadside, huh? Oh, nope. It will, however, ask me to destroy the... Well, you know what? We'll just destroy the power lines. Alright. Wow, the new plaza looks really sophisticated. Hashtag loving plazas. Alright, so it does look like we had some upgrades in terms of the buildings. Being full of hashtag energy after hashtag jog in the new hashtag park. Okay, so all the zoning's still in place. Obviously, we lost some buildings, so I'm assuming that there's going to be some construction going on here. But it does look like some of the buildings did get an upgrade. And looks like we are still losing people, unfortunately. So what am I going to do to try and... Okay, let's go back to our info. Okay, we're still okay for electricity. Canals. You can now build canals. Choose from 3 different depths to get a... Our vacation was extended. Could someone please water the plants while we're gone? The key is in the flower pot in the porch. Okay, so we're okay for water. Electricity is a little bit of a worry, but not like a major problem yet. We are getting reasonable coverage as far as fire is concerned, so I'm okay with that. I mean, crime has increased, but we're all right as far as... I mean, the rate's still low. Healthcare is fine. Okay, so as far as education is concerned, we are way over capacity. We have no high schools, though, so I'm going to have to fix that. Again, I don't feel good about it because we need to be making cuts, but... High school cost me 24, and a public... Ah, god damn it, I also need a public library. Okay. If I put the high school beside the elementary school, are people gonna... no, not really, but... keep a little space. I don't have money for the public library. The importance of schooling seems to have reached local governments. Hashtag learn for life. I'm tempted to shut down one of these schools just to save on the budget. We have a lot of commercial demand and a ton of residential demand. Okay, so what are we looking at as far as... I really do want to put down a public library, but again, we went from a point where we were producing these ridiculous surpluses to where I apparently lost my mind, and we're also getting close to the danger zone. See, the thing is, if I... This is the really hard bit, because I... Now, you know what? I feel bad doing it, but even though I'm short on money, I am going to need... I'm going to need more power, and I'm going to need it soon. So this is going to wipe out the rest of my budget. But if I don't build it now, I'm not going to have the money to build it later. Hooray for the mayor! More hashtag green energy for the city. Alright. So we're out of money. Let's cram whatever residential we can. Basically, I'm just trying to fit the demand here. We will probably wind up bulldozing some of it later. Still a lot of commercial demand as well. We'll satisfy a little bit about that, but honestly, I think at this point I should probably just start taxing them more. So yeah, we'll bulldoze some of this later to turn it into Oh, this will be an interesting test of my fire department. Alright, looks like it's really exciting. Let's see what direction they come from. Alright, so it looks like it's... Oh yeah, they're responding right away. So I know I can shut down some of these buildings. And as far as that elementary school is concerned, I'm actually mildly tempted to do so. Because we're getting into the hole, and we're getting there fast. So they've got 118 students. The other school has got 144, yeah, so... Well, I'm not so sure. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Population is still growing, and I know people get mad when I tax them. As long as it doesn't turn red, I'm okay making people mad. If you're lacking funds to build something quickly, you can take a loan from a bank. Check the economy panel for available loan options. Yeah, I could do that. Okay, again, we either need to raise revenues or we need to lower expenses. So when I take a look at our current expenses, obviously, again, our policies are hurting us the most. Well, I mean, I did just build the whole... Smoke detector distributions, okay. Parks and Rec, what do we get here? Okay, I'm not going to do that because I see that as an investment in... let's see, so. At Mayor, having a clean city with great outdoors opportunities is a privilege. Thanks! You're welcome, Walter Davies. So again, I'm okay with people being mad about taxes. I'm not okay with them being furious about taxes, but that doesn't seem to have happened. And actually, the commercial doesn't seem to be complaining about that at all. So let's just take a minute here, and we'll bump up the taxes 2%. So they're not yelling about it yet, so let's see if we can... Definitely helping the budget. I'm going to do something risky and bring us up to 16% on the residents and 20% on commercial. It's mostly because commercial hasn't complained about their taxes yet, and I have some slack in... Hey, subs, how you doing? So I am trying to learn my lesson from last time, which was clearly... The complaints about the tax policy came right away, but it looks like the differences in growth rates and whatnot, that didn't happen until later. You love playing City. So subs, this is probably the most time that I've put into City Skylines, and this is the console version with the campus DLC. Although I haven't really been doing a lot of the campus stuff yet, just because I've been obviously I've been messing around. Oh wow, we're making quite a bit now. Okay. So as long as the growth rate isn't changing too much. I think I'm just going to maintain it right now and see where we're going. Okay, city's still growing a little bit, so this is going to be dangerous. I'm definitely going to do another 2% on the commercial zones, but I'm going to try and sneak another % in on the residentials. Use keys to finish a shoreline and allow buildings to be zoned close to valuable waterfront. Tempting, but not quite my thing right now. But yeah, I've been really enjoying... Okay, so the growth rate is decreasing. I want to see how quickly that's decreasing. So by about 6 people. And we are getting more people complaining about the taxes. Union Aerospace Corporation announces their plans for Mars. Hashtag UAC, hashtag Mars mission. Alright. By the way, have you heard of Manifold Garden? It's a game that just came out. No, I've never heard of it. Subs. Okay, I'm gonna go down 2% on the residentials because it's a little too much. And it looks like commercials finally caught wise that I'm gouging them, so we'll pull that back 1% as well. So again, I'm expecting that we'll see some pretty dramatic changes as far as the growth rates. I think if we go below 50, I'll try and push the taxes a bit lower. Again, I'm okay with people complaining about the taxes. It's if I start seeing negative growth that I really start worrying. But yeah, so I tend to get... I sometimes get a little impatient with games like City Skylines because it's, like, obvious, it's a wonderfully, like, in-depth. But that sometimes kind of hurts me in the sense that I really feel lost at times. So it's actually... I'm really happy that I got a chance to do it on stream. Uh-oh. Alright. Clearly there's problems. We cut too much from the water budget, so we'll bring them up to 65%. But yeah, so this has been one of the advantages. So number one, I'm learning to play, like, this is like, other than NHL, this is like the first console game that I played. Oh no! It's happening again! Wait, no, sewage treatment went up enough. That should be going away on its own. I'm definitely learning small nudges in policy is the way to go on this. Because, like, just look what happened with that 15%. We got exactly where we needed to be with sewer treatment. Unfortunately, we do have some confounding effects in terms of population, so I'm gonna ease off 2% on residential. And against my... yeah, okay, that's helping us a lot. And against my better judgment, I'm gonna go back to policies. I'm gonna reinstate smoke detector distribution, because that's gonna save me in fire services. Okay, so now commercial's a little bit mad about their taxes, but they also still want to move in here, so... yeah, so it's kind of nice that, again, I'm kind of doing the two sets of learning. So in one sense, I have to learn how console games work in general, but then I also need to learn how City Skylines works. All right, I've learned to fear that red dot. So yes, a large part of the budget comes from commercial zones, but no, I don't want to look that gift horse in the mouth, so... come on, 2% decrease to your taxes. You're not allowed to be mad about this anymore. I'm a little tempted to build some more industry. I know it's gonna largely be wasted, but... my hashtag cat was just saved by a smoke detector. Thank you, @Fire Department. Sorry, I'm not finishing the thought at all. Okay, I will do 1% more off of the commercial districts. No pleasing them. Mind you, they're probably just catching wise to the fact that I'm doing all these dastardly things. Now, as feared, trying to put all those parks in place has sort of cost me as far as residential areas are concerned. So let's start by taking a look and seeing what happened to my land value. Not bad increases. It's perhaps a little surprising to see less activity. Like, oh no, this got Paradox Plaza. Yeah, I'm a little surprised to see sort of the distribution of where all this went, but... I mean, the budget can afford to be a little more merciful to the commercial, but... Also, seeing as sewage was a problem, let's go and reinstate the... Let's reinstate the water usage. Well, actually, water consumption isn't a problem, it's power consumption that's a problem. And I think we're okay with both of those right now. Oh, no, we're not. So... yeah, I mean, they did a really good job with the user interface for this one. I was genuinely curious about where this would be going, and I think this game did a great job of translating. So Ascanius actually had some. They seem to. Oh, our vacation was extended. Could someone water the plants while we're gone? The key is in the flower pot on the porch. Oh man, I didn't think there was weather in this. This is very pleasant. I'm just gonna switch. I'm kind of in chatty mode right now, so we'll just enjoy a glimpse at my city in the nice rainy day. So Scanius seemed to believe that PC gaming is sort of on the rise. Singing in the rain. Experience rain. I have now experienced rain. Scanius seemed to believe that PC gaming was sort of on the rise. My feeling is that console gaming is kind of the most dominant form. Probably also the most profitable form. But it does seem that Paradox is kind of conscious of the fact that they are very PC heavy, and they've been making some really interesting choices as far as... oh wow, I do have a little bit of a... You have a newly unlocked building, the police station. I think I've always had the police station, though. They do seem to be kind of forward-looking in terms of, like, doing things like bringing Stellaris to console, bringing Stellaris to mobile. There's a lot of kind of interesting moves that they've been making, and I think one of the things I like the most about what Paradox has been doing with it... I mean, again, obviously I got the press key for this, so you know, I'm going to say nice things about them, but this game isn't that expensive. Like, I can enjoy a game, I can pay for the game and not feel like I'm selling my soul. But I actually really like how forward-thinking they are in terms of saying it's like, we have certain, you know, we make games that are really good for PC users. What if PC ceases to be a dominant platform? You know, that is an interesting question if you make the types of games that Paradox does. And their answer seems to be, you know, let's prove people wrong. Like, let's see whether or not we can actually bring some of this stuff to console. And things that I think most people would have said, there's no way you can... You know, you could make... There's no way you can make Grand Strategy on console. There's no way you can make Grand Strategy on mobile. They've been doing it. Like, I've been having a... Like, I think actually the best I can say is that while I don't... Like, I love Surviving Mars, and I found City Skylines a little overwhelming. And I'm coming up to about 3 hours of playing this for the very... Like, again, playing... This is the most I've played of City Skylines for a single session. Great time, and I feel like I'm getting a grip on it. And so, despite the fact that I started this stream learning just generally console controls, and learning kind of how City Skylines works, as well as learning how consoles work, like, it's been a very pleasant thing. I feel like I have a reasonable grip on the game. So again, I'm the sort of person who, my experience of my experience of gaming is almost exclusively PC games. And again, it's a little bit like Twitter, right? If you only follow people who share your view, then you think that everyone thinks that way, and anybody who thinks differently from you is crazy. But I just like the fact that Paradox kind of clearly has an edge in terms of a genre that really they've pushed forward. They've also been able to say, like, how do we make ourselves robust to, you know, the PC gaming market becoming a smaller share of gaming spend or something like that. And it seems to have been to do what other people think is impossible and put games that kind of have a home on PC onto the console. And so I admittedly accepted this key largely out of curiosity, but the more I think about it, the more I realize, like, this really works. This has been a really pleasant little diversion, so... You always thought Civilization was a game that couldn't be ported to consoles, but they managed it. I'm guessing anything is possible if you have very talented UI designers. Absolutely. And I mean, it's not even that Civilization... I mean, Civilization, I remember playing it on DS. It was actually not that dissimilar from Civilization 2. But Civilization's on tablets now, which I think is really fun. Anyways, landscaping tools let you shift, level, soften, or slope the terrain. When you remove, I think it's terrain, you will store soil. When adding terrain, you will use stored soil. To see how much soil you have, see the soil availability meter. For further information, see the advisor for individual tools. Water structures will allow you to build canals, quays, and flood walls. Canals can be used for beautification or moving water. Use flood walls to keep water in the canal if flooding occurs often. If your canal is not getting any water, try using a deeper canal. You can upgrade canals to be deeper or shallower. Quays are used on waterfront to finish the shoreline nicely. You can place shoreline buildings on top of quays. Okay, so I am going to try and develop some of this waterfront. What's the story here? What are you? Use quays to give waterfront a nice... Okay. Is there a curve feature to this, maybe? Oh, yeah, nope. I think the other problem is, like, I'm really not talented enough to make really beautiful buildings here. Let's see what Freeform gives me. I'm very nervous about trying this, but... Oh, God help me. Oh, no, we can make this work. Maybe if I zoom in a little bit more. I mean, it's probably not going to be as curvy and sexy as I want it to be, but there we go. That works for now. You've watched you for years, so it's not like I'm just meeting you, so it feels weird to say this, but there's a YouTuber that you kind of just realized reminds you of you named Nick Robinson. Sorry for the word. No, actually, it's really funny because I keep hearing from a lot of people something like, yeah, you know, you should watch so-and-so. I really, you know, they remind me a lot of you. I hear that a lot about Arumba, which is certainly very, you know, that's very good company to be in. You know, I wish I could say I'm as good as he is. I thought I changed this to like a normals. Oh no, I put a two-way street down the middle here. So before I start messing around with my look here, I don't know how much my casting style has changed. It's really hard to sort of self-diagnose that sort of stuff. But I don't know. I always like, so you know, the only thing I feel bad about when I hear, you know, oh, you're like Arumba or something like that is, you know, clearly I wish I had their talent. And I wish I had their audience. Not that I'm unhappy with the audience that I have, but I like it. I mean, obviously my stuff isn't for everyone, and I think, you know, we've got, you know, Fortunately, we live in a nice enough place. Oh, this is gonna be a little tricky. You know what I think I'll do? I think I'll just extend the key and hopefully that'll deal with the... Alright, we'll go in a little bit closer. Anyways, there's just so many people who are really good at this stuff. That it's obviously it's wonderful to be kind of compared to, or it's nice to hear people say, you know, this is something that I like, and I don't know if you'll like it too, or you know, whatever people are trying to say whenever they talk about comparisons like that. Like, I know there's a certain style of caster. I know there's supposed to be a way that you can like raise and lower stuff. Anyways. Without a city limits, too steep. I'm very perplexed by why it's taking the... Oh, you know what? It's probably taking that shape because I'm back into freeform. So you know what? Let's just go for the curve. This is some very odd shapes. Okay, let's try a straight one then. Sorry, I don't... Anyways. A couple things I was trying to say. One, it's actually really hard for me to gauge how different I am from when I started casting, because I feel there is a difference, I just don't know how meaningful that difference is. Number two, the comparison, like whenever somebody's recommended a streamer or a YouTuber or something like that, I've always really enjoyed what I saw, so I obviously feel very happy to be compared in that way. I mean, obviously, you know, I feel like I do my own thing, and I do it, you know, well enough to command some sort of an audience. You know, I think what I'm just going to do here is I'm going to run it as far as I can. Try and keep the 90-degree angle, please. I know there's like a snapping option that will probably make this easier. I'll send it out as far as I can. Yeah, I don't know. Like I've been delighted to find more stuff. Obviously, I don't need to share the games I play with people, but I enjoy doing it. And yeah, I know you're mad that I just bulldozed your house. You know, I think part of sharing games is also being able to sort of share the type of content you like to watch. I don't know if that made any sense or not, but I'm slightly preoccupied trying not to make my city suck too bad. Anyways, thank you. Please do not consider that a weird comment. Obviously, I'm going to need to change the directions later, but I want to focus a little bit on getting this in the shape that I want. Okay, now we change directions. You're okay. You need to go back. And I've been pretty bad at like directing up or down on the like these streets. Oh damn it. Okay. Again, I want these 90-degree slope two-step. What? Balderdash. Oh, that's no good. Alright, it's not pretty, but it'll do. I feel like I should be getting more... Yeah, like, this is the sort of stuff I'm trying to get. Oh, but yeah, these intersections are gonna be... Well, you know what? Okay, I'll make the exceptions in these cases. I suppose I could have done some, like, nice curves. Well, you know what? We can get the refund. Yeah, actually, this this might turn out kind of nice. Let's try curve and see what we get. Oh yeah, I don't want to do a no curve there. I just want to extend this as far as I can at the snapping. Sorry, I'm completely ignoring chat at this point. Whoa! City planner's gone drunk. Okay, let's maybe not do that. Let's just go straight to curved, and let's see what magic I can perform. Yeah, I do not want... Oh, I already screwed up. I gotta do it one at a time. This looks so ridiculous. Yeah, this looks so bad. Although I think I know how I can make it look better. Let's try that one more time, and we'll put the curve in the middle. Or actually, this one I'm okay making look a little goofier. The ones that look a little more like triangles, I think I want to put the curve in the middle. So I kind of see the point being to try and I'm basically trying to maximize the number of houses I can build along the shore. Yeah, that wasn't so good. Okay, I'm really curious what happens if I do this. Ah, okay. So I'm going to waste even more money refunding this, realizing that I get a little more extra space on the key itself. Alright. Oh, I think I see what you're trying to say here. Subs, yeah. I mean, I don't even want to think about how much money I've wasted on building this stuff. Closer to something that I'd want to see. That's a little too much of a cut. Yeah, I'll live with it. That looks so weird with that kink in the middle, though. Rebuild the whole thing? I hope not. Okay, one last try, because otherwise I'm going to bankrupt the city. Alright, I'll live with it. I have no idea if this will be worth anything, but... oh, just pushing the wrong button. Yeah, I think I actually minimized the amount of connection to the water at this point, but hopefully we'll see some higher values. Or I've just created a traffic nightmare. Who knows? It's part of the learning process. This will almost certainly not satisfy the residential demand, but it gives me something to work with. Okay. There is some districting thing which I haven't really been able to get a handle on yet. As far as the economy, I can't remember if I've already tried to make the commercial zones happy, but we'll knock another 2% off their taxes and see if they complain, so. No satisfying them. Alright. I'm a little bit worried by the fact that our growth is so anemic now. Actually, we're shrinking. So, in the name of peace and harmony, fine. 14%. Alright, there we go. At power plant, these new energy meters encourage citizens to conserve electricity. Benefits are almost instant. Hashtag energy, hashtag sustainability. Really? You're still complaining. Who are you? Low density commercial building, operating normally. You know what? Oh, it's a historical building. Well, you know what? I'm tempted. Don't make me. You know, I could probably afford to, reduce it by 1% more, and we'll see. We'll see. First of all, we'll see if we can survive it. Okay, no more tax revolts. Hopefully the growth rate goes up, because if it does, then we're back on track to paying down debt and whatnot. Yeah. It's more so the fact that I'm sort of interested in doing them, and it's not clear to me. Oh, you know what? If we've got waterfront property, let's give people something to do there. Basketball court? Again, I probably should be putting that money towards the paying down the debt, but I don't know. We look like we're in a slightly better fiscal situation. Okay, what's the deal here? I have no idea what that icon means. Operating normally, attract wealthier customers to allow the building to be upgraded. Oh, here we go. Not enough educated workers. Oh, yes, I wanted to build a public library. Okay, so we're definitely seeing... I think we're definitely seeing the consequences of my fiscal policies. Although the city is growing, given that we have higher land values, I am slightly curious. Again, I'm playing with fire here, but I'm slightly curious if I can raise the residential taxes. I'm also going to try 1 point of the commercial. Nope. Yeah, so commercial is having absolutely none of that. We do have some annoyance on the residential side, but no, like, burn the school level annoyance. So I'm going to deal with some complainers. I'm okay with that as long as the I mean, this is a really healthy growth rate of 105. And the fact of the matter is that I do need a more educated populace. I am, however, going to take a quick minute and take a look at my services. So electricity, okay. Sewage treatment might be getting into trouble. Man, this city... Okay, apparently I have absolutely destroyed my... fire. Oh yeah, we're in a few. We're actually in a bit of danger as far as fire is concerned. Hopefully the rain will keep up. More info views. The elementary schools are going to be. I don't even think we have an option of a university at this point. We also took the loan too early, although we were kind of forced into it. Most importantly, though, property values. Well, they're definitely going up. Unfortunately, all the residential areas that I kind of want to be developed currently aren't being developed. I'm reasonably pleasantly surprised to see some demand for industry, so they'll get a raise in taxes because I don't want to build anymore. By the way, in case you're interested, Manifold Garden is a puzzle game. You haven't played it yet, but I think it's similar to Antechamber on the Epic Store. Okay, so first of all, I'm happy to hear Epic Store. Incidentally, you've given me a great opportunity to introduce this, so let me just take a minute here. Okay. Does someone know how much this hashtag energy meter consumes? I'm definitely going to check out Manifold Garden when I am done. But if it just came on the Epic Store, Manifold, where are you? Oh, apparently it's not on my list yet. So if you do pick it up and it is, there should be an option down below that allows you to put System Chalk in. That's a way I can get a little revenue for the store. Antechamber is I like Antechamber a lot. I actually want to get back to that on stream, so that already has me very interested. But on top of that, I'm also now with Humble. In fact, it's maybe worth mentioning, it's been in development for 7 years, you've been following development since the beginning. That isn't the 4D game at all, is it, Subs? The other thing I will say, because it's PDXCon coming up, I am now a Humble affiliate. You can scroll down, you can click on the Humble Partner Program. The link that I've just given you there is the Paradox sale. It's up to 80% off on certain games. I think the real good deals right now, there's a bunch of stuff, Stellaris stuff. All of the big DLC is like 50% off. I think it's only Megacorps that's not on a really steep discount. I'm okay with the lower residential demand, but I'm a little worried about how the growth rate is falling, so I'm gonna knock down the residential taxes a bit. I can certainly afford it, so if I can keep everybody happy at the moment, I think I'm gonna keep with that. I would like to build a library at some point, because clearly we are suffering for lack of one. I'd also like to build some more commercial at some point. Well, I mean, there's nothing stopping me from building commercials, so let's just say... Well, it's going to be like a ring of commercial around the edge for now, but I have a feeling I'm going to need to come up with something a little smarter. Anyways, the deals that I think really work well for the... so there's the Stellaris stuff, but also Daggerfall, or not Daggerfall, Dragonfall is, I think it's like $7 Canadian or something like that. So some particularly good deals, and then also there's a couple of bundles which I think are worthy of your attention. So that would be the, so the Humble Linux and Unix one is, it's a fairly narrow subset of people that I think will benefit from it, but it's actually going to be one that I pick up. I was meaning to do that after the last stream, but if you're into computer stuff, the Unix and Linux bundle is really helpful because it's the O'Reilly books. The O'Reilly books are alright. The $1 tier actually has what I think is the most useful. Sorry, I'll try and get a better shot of the... Again, I'm in salesman mode, so we'll just enjoy the... This is also partly because I'm wrapping up for the night, so... we'll get a nice view of the work that we did. So the Unix and Linux one I encourage because the Introducing Regular Expressions book is a really good one, and I like learning GNU Emacs. You may not want that one. The $8 one gives you learning the Bash shell, which is not a bad one, although if you're a Mac user, the Z8SH shell is the new one. The $15 one is okay. Mastering Regular Expressions and the Bash Cookbook are probably the two highlights out of that. But honestly, I'm recommending that one because the $1 one gives you at least, in my opinion, two very good O'Reilly books. I'm probably actually just going to get the $1 or pay what you want version, basically. As if you're more on games, which I think the majority of you will be, another bundle that I'm really attracted to is the Humble Postmodern bundle. So this one gives you, so at the top tier, it will give you Catherine Classic, so that's $15 for that one. If you pay more than the average, so that's $7.42 right now, you get the Stanley Parable. And then the $1 one even has some, that one has Thomas Was Alone. There's also some other ones, so I'm really just talking about the highlights here, but that's another good deal that I see there at the moment. Finally, if you like role-playing stuff, there is the Vampire and Werewolf World of Darkness bundle. I personally don't have too much use for those source books, but I know that's come up before, so those are the ones that I think are decent right now. Again, the idea here is you should make your own price comparisons and decide what is fair for you and what you're interested in. But if you do happen to use any of those links, the nice thing about the bundles are that you can actually direct the exact amount of money that you want to go towards me as opposed to charity or humble tip or whatnot. But seeing I've opened those options, it was fairly clear. It wasn't just because people forgot about the Epic link. I think there are a number of people who just don't want to use the Epic Store or are not compelled by what they see on there. But people did ask for the Humble Store, and I did notice that people basically started buying stuff off of that link right away. So if you are so inclined, particularly if you want to buy City Skylines, there's a good price for it right now, along with the DLC. I'm really glad that I caught at least one Thunderstrike. Do keep in mind I was given a copy of the Xbox version specifically to show the Xbox game, and of course specifically the Campus DLC. No such luck on the Campus DLC because I was spending the time learning the game, but I will say the exact reasons that I was excited to try this game bore out. I have had a great time learning console controls. I know it sounds silly, but like I really have not owned a console since the Wii. And obviously the Wii has a very unique control scheme, so I'm not quite sure it counts for that much. I'm really impressed at the conversion to Xbox. So like I was saying, I think it's all well and good for me to say it's like, yeah, I was given a press key. Whenever I've been given a press key, there was actually one that I was given instructions for, and I declined it for that reason. I think it's okay to say, here are some highlights that we want to point out on the game. I think that's fair game. I think saying, we would like you to say X, Y, and Z about the following title is kind of lame and not really something I'm interested in doing. Obviously, because I continue to stream Paradox stuff, Paradox has never asked me to do that. They've asked me to, honor an embargo, and obviously that includes not doing formal reviews of games before press outlets are able to do that. But, like, I always kind of keep that interest in mind, the fact that I haven't had to pay for the game, because I honestly do not like recommending stuff on the possibility that somebody may not like the game. But the biggest thing is that while I do like Surviving Mars, and while I think city builder sort of games are things that interest me quite a bit, I did have a little difficulty properly getting into City Skylines because I felt a bit overwhelmed by the game. And so even though I was, playing on an unfamiliar platform in terms of the console, and despite the fact that clearly at the beginning of the stream I was struggling to, get the controls down right, I was sort of fumbling a little bit in terms of making the roads work and whatnot. The fact that I've kind of spent overtime now, I'm kind of half an hour past the time I was planning on streaming, like, I was able to make mistakes in the game, and we're back on a path to still growing the city while also, while making money and paying back our debt. I'll probably maybe put down the library because we're already on a path to repaying the debt with our current status, and we clearly have a lack of educated citizens. I don't know, like, I think that speaks more, rather than just being like, hey, you guys should check out this really good game. I liked it a lot, which is true. I think the more telling, factor is that despite being very comfortable with PC games, the fact that I've put so much time into this really is a testament. I wish I remembered the developer who was responsible for the port, but I think it's a testament to their ability that they were able to make something like this where I feel I don't want to say more comfortable, but that I feel this comfortable. Oh, it's all that waterfront property. I really don't want to give that up. I do kind of want maximum impact for this library, though. I mean, I took the loan so I could build this library. Alright, I gotta find... This is gonna be my last act, by the way. Oh, Cool Eagle, thank you so much for that host. I'm actually on my way, out. But let me take a quick minute here. What were you streaming, by the way? I'm sorry there's no, hosting alerts or anything along those lines. It's because I am playing on Xbox for the very first time. Okay, ooh, this is actually a little dangerous, so let's get the power plant people on overtime. Again, I want an educated city, but I want to build this library where the property values are low. That's where all my commercial is. Actually, it's not too valuable here. I don't remember, is this residential? If it's not, this is like a perfect spot for it then. This is an elementary school. I'm an idiot. God. City planning's hard. Yeah, so it's all the commercial stuff that's like low value. Well, I mean, these are relatively low value here, so I wonder if there's something I can get away with. Not really, because it doesn't have that much reach. I think the fact of the matter is that I'm not going to make everyone happy with the placement of any one of these. I think I'm going to go with my original inclination and say I need to put it where the lowest land value is, so probably in the corner over here. Anyways, let me just take a quick minute here and properly shout out the Cool Eagle. You're playing Space Engineers. System Shock. The Cool Eagle was good at video games tonight. I'm confused and need to be held. I'm sorry to hear that, Cleano Dev. I'm glad I missed it. Pixar, it didn't happen, right? Cool Eagle says, I have to surprise you sometimes, Cleano Dev, otherwise you'll leave me. Anyways, guys, Cool Eagle, in addition to being somebody who posts me, is a fancy streamer on his own. I'm actually really happy that, since I've gotten to know him, it feels like his channel just keeps growing and growing each time I stop by there. Obviously, this just throws me into fits of envy, and I will never forgive him for growing his channel successfully. No, he's a ton of fun to watch. Does a lot of BattleTech, which is obviously another Paradox game, another Paradox game that's on a fairly good sale, by the way. I'm just trying to see, I'm trying to figure out if the coverage is greater than, so the temptation here is, yeah, see, the coverage isn't good because it goes into the, so even though this is high value land, I am going to put it in the middle because it'll hopefully raise the values of just about everything else, and the rich can be uneducated and hopefully lose their money. I'll drag you to fame with me. Thank you. But yeah, the best recommendation I can give for Cool Eagle is in fact BattleTech, precisely because PDXCon is upon us, and he's actually done that game more justice than I have. I unfortunately have been slacking, although I was a Kickstarter backer, so I don't have the I'm not actually covering the game like I said I would guilt that I do for others. I'm assuming the demand for residential is going to skyrocket as a result of this choice. I love libraries. I finally have unrestricted access to information from many different sources. Written on Chirper. BattleTech, that's the name of that game you used to play, Cool Eagle. I remember now. It's your main game, but you'll get back to it soonishly. Well, it's nice to have variety. Ah! Why is everybody leaving? Oh, they're leaving because I bulldozed their houses. Let's see if the trend continues. Also, let's see if I start losing money. I'm expecting to lose some because of the loan and then because of the service costs. What a great city. I would think I'm dreaming if I didn't know otherwise. Thank you, Carol Evans. Does anybody have any questions about the game before I sign off, by the way? Just trying to think of anything else that I wanted to cover. That was kind of a half-assed shout-out for Cool Eagle. I'm sorry for that. Oh, actually, I think it's Kleinodev knows Victoria from... I'm actually trying to remember. I don't remember if I signed up for something or if it came from somebody's recommendation. But I did get that key for 6 Ages, which I tremendously enjoyed. So Victoria's incredibly nice to interact with on email. So kudos to Cool Eagle and Kleinodev, if they were the ones to talk about me to the Kitfox people. You may get maybe November, December. I don't understand. You have 9,000 in the bank. Why have you spent it all on Coconokers? Because I can't raise taxes to keep feeding that beast. Okay. I don't know if abandoned buildings clear themselves out on their own or not, but it's an eyesore, so let's just get rid of that. I did say I was wrapping up, didn't I? But I kind of want to see the consequences of my library decision. I'm hoping it serves as a kind of a substitute for a university. It is a little weird that people are leaving the city when I have so many amenities, but as long as they keep, as long as the taxes are coming in. I wonder if I can get away with another percent on commercial. Alright, I don't have a tax revolt yet. Can I get away with another percent on residential? Looks like I can. Next up, let's see if I can knock it down a little bit for industry, because I want to start attracting some of that. Okay, so one more there. Let's try and get to 15% on the others. I'm basically going to tax them until they start complaining. Abandoned buildings sometimes clear up by themselves. Eventually, when someone wants to move in badly enough, it'll just take longer. Okay. I don't mind intervening. I'm a little bit worried about the fact that my population's still going negative, but this might just be the hangover from some other decisions that I've made, so... The thing is that I'm a little bit more... I am going to be focusing a little bit more on my tax base here, because I obviously need to start... Like, once I pay off one of the debts, I'll be a little happier. I really wish I got that Thunder. This is a really good-looking game, by the way. I don't know how well this translates on Twitch, but I'm enjoying my fancy monitor. Someone know how much this hashtag energy meter consumes? Hashtag electricity? Alright, so we are making a little bit less money than I thought before. I'm going to slightly adjust the composition one more time, so we'll see if we can get up to 16%. I am again going to lower taxes on industry in hopes of attracting a little bit more of it. Oh, that's right, I forgot you can follow citizens. Yeah, I'm getting a little worried about this tax situation. You seem to have a lot coming in, and that number keeps going down. Property values are going up. Be like America, 0% tax on industry. It used to be that Canada had actually had a lower marginal tax rate on business than the U.S. I believe it's equal now. Of course, there's other awesome reasons to be in Canada, but all right. So I'm not 100% sure what to do about this, because we have more people coming in, which should mean I've got a broader tax base, and I've only been raising taxes. So I don't know if this is just like a hangover from previous decisions, or if we're going to continue on this trajectory. It certainly looks more like the latter. Let's take a quick look at the budget. My largest expense is education. I think we were paying, yeah. I might be a little tempted to pull back on those expenses. Energy, like, doesn't cost me anything at this point. If I could pay back one of those loans, that would also cover me. Actually, no. If we're losing 1,000, we're definitely not in good shape for that. Okay. First of all, info. So, electricity is getting kind of scary. Public library, university, high school. Okay. Yeah, we're spending too much money on education. This is probably too aggressive, so we'll go to 65%. Will you adopt me, system? Maybe. Okay, that's good to know that there's a big delay on income. I know I'm signing myself up for a world of hurt. I'm going to do 2% on commercial. I'm actually going to do another 1% on residential, just because there is demand for these guys. And again, people aren't complaining about taxes yet. Looks like we've got a little... So I'm okay having a bit of unfulfilled demand on industry. This says to me that my tax policies are working, so we're attracting industry, and I'm okay that we haven't built out. One of the reasons I'm not building things out right now, by the way, is this thing. So I have enough money to build one more wind turbine. Actually, while I'm at it... Okay, so now people are complaining about taxes. We'll go down a shade on commercial, and we will pay a little bit more for energy. I kind of want to stick to my guns with this commercial tax. Alright, so we got a new area, transport, level 3 unique buildings. Oh, power your fingertips, unlock all city services. Level 3 unique buildings, buses, taxis, or industry specialization, recycling policies, recreational marijuana, so this is definitely a Canadian city. The Cloverleaf intersection, 3-way intersection, large roundabout, highway ramp. Oh yeah, man, I've only been keeping with the regular roads. 6-lane road with bus lanes, 4-lane road with bus lanes, and 1-way toll booth, 2-way toll booth, cemetery, advanced wind turbine, and bus depot. You don't think, which menus are you talking about, Cool Eagle? The tax menus? At Mayor, that's great news. City can now annex new adjacent areas. Hashtag new possibilities. All right. I'm going to call it before I get sucked into this too much, because it's now 1:30 in the morning, and I was actually going to finish at like 12:30. So thank you everybody for sharing this with me. I had a great time with it. Again, I do want to thank Triple Point and Paradox for giving me a key for City Skylines. I took a little bit of a flyer on it. I'm also very late in covering this game, although that was sort of covered ahead of time. Like I said, I mean, so this has been an opportunity for me to learn a little bit more about how normal people play games. Obviously, console is huge. Somebody like me, who is primarily a PC gamer, probably does not appreciate the fact that most people do experience games through things like consoles and tablets and, you know, just basically, like, it's easy, right? If you only play on one thing, then you're going to assume that kind of everybody else does that. And like I said, I think the real testament to this this port is not so much the fact that, oh my god, they put City Skylines on console, but the fact that I like this game, but I have I'll admit, like, I felt kind of overwhelmed the first time I played it, and it's been really fun to learn this game. This looks a lot like my old high school. It's been really neat to just be able to learn this game, and I really feel like I had what I needed, like, to learn, and I don't know, like, it was really satisfying to play this. I don't know if I was just too impatient when I played on PC. It's definitely not a knock against the PC version, but like I said, it's less about the fact that, you know, I got the press key, or it's less about the fact that partly the fact that I'm streaming, because I'm assuming the fact I need to explain stuff is one thing, but I'm really impressed at how the time just seemed to fly by, and I feel like I've gotten a bit of a grip on how this game works. And I think it's hard to, like, this is the sort of stuff that probably would have gone unnoticed on my part, just because it's like, what, I'm sitting down, I'm playing a game, right? I'm having a fun time with it, and I don't need to think about what went into all of this. But given the fact that I can kind of have this experience of, you know, this is what it was like when I first played City Skylines, and this is what it's like to play it now, I definitely think that I have a greater appreciation for the work that the people who did the port put into it, given how, you know, how I felt that the onboarding was a good experience. So, oh sure, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna play this on PC this weekend. But I definitely am. So, a little bit of a few words in terms of what's going to be happening with the stream for a bit. I'm in a nice little position where we're between sessions on Stellaris. We wrapped up the Space Dwarves on a rather disappointing ending, but that's totally my fault. We completed the Ghoul playthrough on Cultist Simulator. So while I have a lot of games that I am going to do kind of as you know, fulfill not an obligation, but fulfill a commitment that I'd made to, we also have a lot of money now, so I'm assuming that's because we achieved the milestone, but in this case I'm actually going to pay back some of these loans. Sorry, I keep saying that I'm going to finish, and then I always find another excuse to do something else, so we'll pay back the Silver Sunset Bank. Anyways, I think what I'm going to wind up doing, I haven't completely settled on things, but I actually do want to do, other than the games that I've said I'm going to cover when the embargo lifts, I'm going to cover more Surviving Mars. I definitely want to do more of this, console City Skylines. Hopefully the console streaming wasn't too bad. Let me know what you thought of the quality and whatnot. But I'm going to try my targets of opportunity in addition to doing a lot of Surviving Mars and City Skylines. I'm going to try and do more Age of Wonders Planetfall and hopefully Imperator Rome. Now that doesn't mean I'm not going to do stuff like Darkest Dungeon and whatnot, but I actually really want to sink my teeth into some more of these like building and construction and really like sit down and do like more than one cast in a week of these kinds of games. Like I'd love to finally make Mars Green, and I kind of feel like now is a really good time for me to do that because I'm sort of between grand strategy sessions, and I don't know, let me know if you think that sounds interesting. But anyways, I really am going to finish. Let's see who is streaming now, because it says Cool Eagle is streaming, and I know that's not true. Kilgore Trout is playing Dark Side of the Moon, and he said that, hey, thank you, Nox. By the way, what did you guys think of City Skylines? I'll talk about Kilgore Trout for a little bit. Thank you very much for the raid, Cool Eagle. Kilgore Trout is playing Dark Side of the Moon. I have no idea what this game is about, but he was beside himself with excitement about getting a chance to do this. Kilgore Trout does a lot of classic games, really friendly guy, fellow Canadian. He's in Ontario. Also is a musician. The Kilgore Trout, I met him through the GOG stream team. Well, he's on the GOG stream team. I just did stuff for GOG for once in a while. in ye old days. But I definitely encourage you guys to check him out. Again, whether or not I host Kilgore, feel free to say in chat or Discord or any of this other stuff what you thought of City Skylines, if you'd like to see more of it, how you feel about Surviving Mars, or if you'd like to see more stuff like Age of Wonders and Imperator Rome. I like to think that I'm reasonably available across all channels, but this has been a very long goodbye. I'm going to say have a good evening, and I will leave you in the capable hands of Mr. Kilgore. So have a lovely evening, and we will see you Monday at the latest, I suppose.